Okay, so we're now recording. It's 6:32 p.m. Today's August 3rd, 2026. This is a regular meeting of the Montgomery Selectboard. We'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is to review and make any changes to the agenda. Do any board members have any additions or deletions to the agenda?
No.
I have one that we're gonna table. It's under new business. It's item D. NEK Broadband had said they would get us a draft lease by tonight so we could review it. We already had talked about Northwest Fiberworks, and we had some comments to go back to them, but we were waiting for NEK Broadband so we could do like an apples to apples comparison, especially if, say, they both say like, in consideration, we're going to give you free service at the PSB. It's like, well, you don't both need to do that, right? So we want to make sure that they work together. We have not received anything from NEK Broadband, so we will table that to the next meeting. Any other additions, deletions anyone's got?
I object to the approval of minutes.
So we're not at the approval of minutes yet, Josh, but when we get there, we can take public comment on that.
So, is there something that we can add to the approval of minutes? Or the minutes?
I just want to confirm, like, Are we good to go on the agenda?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes?
On the agenda.
Okay. So the agenda is set by the board. There's a visitors section where visitors can raise any issues they'd like to. So not hearing any additions or deletions from the board.
I object to approval of the July 20th minutes.
Hold on one second.
We're not approving that. We're just talking about the agenda.
I'm sorry. Yes, so we do have one other thing that did come into the office from Tosca. And this is the, it's in front of you here. It's the Montgomery Grange basement flooring project.
They've got two bids in front of you. I'd like you to approve one.
Yeah. So we're gonna add that as item D under new business.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tosca. Okay. Now, we're gonna move on to the minutes. And so the way this works is that somebody moves and seconds, then we go to discussion, and then we can talk about amendments or changes. So I'd look for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Dennis. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, is there any discussion on the minutes? I'm gonna start with board members. Daniel, did you have something?
I want to just confirm with Josh, was it about your suggestion that I recuse myself for the wastewater and this short-term rental ordinance?
Paper here, it says, I think you should accuse yourself because of the stuff that was your mom's
For the wastewater project?
wastewater project. It was not in the minutes, and I would like it to be there.
Sure. And did that include for the short-term rental ordinance or just the wastewater?
Just the wastewater.
Okay.
That was my only thing I'm-
Okay.
Okay.
So that he asked me to recuse myself in the minutes of last week's meeting.
Okay, so Daniel's gonna offer a friendly amendment that we add Josh's request that Daniel recuse himself from the
The wastewater, any...
wastewater
Yeah.
and the STR?
No, not
No,
the
I
STR.
only
Okay,
asked for the
great.
wastewater.
Thank you. And apologies if that wasn't captured. I do try to take notes during the meeting. I try to go back and watch the recording to capture everything. I don't always get everybody's individual comments, which if I don't reflect something, I apologize. It's not intentional. The main goal of the minutes is to reflect discussion items as well as any actions by the board. We do try to capture as much as we can as well. Plus the recordings are here in addition. So we have a friendly amendment from Daniel to amend them as described. Dennis and Mark, do you accept the friendly amendment?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay, great. Any other discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting the minutes as amended, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries, and we've adopted the minutes as amended. Just a reminder, because the crowd is kind of big tonight, we are going to do a sign-in. So if folks haven't had a chance to sign in, I'm going to pass this down to Dennis. And if you can just pop up and sign your name, it'd be greatly appreciated, just so we have a record of everyone that was here. Next up is Public Works, roads, general updates. Mark, any general updates on the roads?
They completed the grant project on Amadon Road. So Amadon Road is finished, and now they're working up on Fisher Road, doing some ditching up there. So that's where they're working right now. We got the signs for 58 for the parking signs, so we'll be putting those up.
Speak up, please.
Yeah, we'll be we got the signs for Route 58 for the parking signs for where people are parking for swimming holes. So we got some more signs for that. And then they completed Amadon Road, the grants on Amadon Road, and now they're working on Fisher Road.
All right, thanks, Mark. Any other general updates related to roads?
Did we get anywhere with the signs at the town garage? The public access signs?
So the signs have been temporarily amended by hand, so they now reflect different language. We are gonna look into getting like permanent metal ones made with that language. So that's in process.
Is that proper language to be used? Because you're saying that it's a risk to go to the town office, that sounds counterproductive for me.
It does not say,
Well, it says enter at your own risk, so that just sounds counterproductive to go to a public office.
yeah, we're trying to find a middle ground here, Josh.
I
We're
know,
trying to
I'm
make
saying- I'm
our,
saying that sounds counterproductive to go to a town office to say enter at your own risk.
yeah, I can run the new language by our, I mean, I already told you, our insurance company said if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Can we, all right, we're gonna try to not talk over each other, and we're gonna try to only talk when we're acknowledged, not to be like a jerk about it, because it's really hard to hear online when everybody talks over each other, so, Josh, so, I don't know, I can take,
I like you working on it, I just think that part of the sign just doesn't, I like you working on the sign, I just think, trying to say that people are at risk to go to the office, just doesn't sound like proper wording as we're going into it.
okay, we can keep working on the language to make sure it tries to get everybody happy if that's possible around this, but we're happy to keep working on it. Related to the signs, Tosca?
Yes, I was under the impression that our insurance company is asking us to fence that yard in and lock it.
I have
So,
insurance thing.
but just in past, when they're putting that sign up to protect the town, if somebody goes in there with their janky truck and gets sand and gets injured, it protects the town. So that's my
So,
understanding.
Tosca, just to your question, I did, I did ask the insurance company about the gate, and they said with the signage that we had up prior to being amended, we didn't need to have a gate that was locked. I have not run the amended the language of the sign back by our insurance company, but that was the response that we had. Cliff, did you have a question or a comment related to the signs at the town garage?
He does, I just
Did-
asked to go
could-
first.
Okay, Carrie, do you have a question related to the town garage
Well,
signs?
I haven't followed up on that with Mark, but I did try to give some sort of like compromise email, and it seemed like it was a decent effort to put some sort of signage up and save us liability wise for the insurance company. What kind of thought went into that?
Well,
Why is it?
we changed the wording, I mean, we're trying to change the wording, and then we'll try to put
Appreciate
Yeah,
that.
like, no
we'll try to
worries.
put a pile out by the, out by the sign so that people can access it, from there. That's what we're
Yeah.
gonna try and do.
It seemed like that
I
was a
mean,
nice, like, friendly sign that I
we're-
recommended,
We're trying to, yeah,
like no entry after dusk.
yeah.
I got a place
Okay,
to put a pile of sand right next to the river at my house.
Okay, thanks, Chris. All right, Cliff, did you have a comment or a question on the signs?
I'm good, thank you.
You're good, okay.
Okay.
Can I say something real quick?
On the signs at the town garage? Okay,
The only thing I can think about with this sign, enter at your own risk. No one, we put signs up, no trespassing, people are still gonna do it. So how's that protecting you when you put no,
Liability.
yeah, liability way? Because once you put a sign up there like that, enter at your own risk, more people are gonna do it, just to be spiteful and just to be,
I don't think
you know what I
so.
mean? There's a lot of hooligans around,
yeah,
so you gotta watch what you say up down the sign, that's
Okay.
all I'm saying.
appreciate it. Again, the liability concern is the main one that we're working with here. All right, are we good on the signage?
For the moment.
All right. We're gonna move on to the town garage snow guards. So this has been on the docket for almost a year now. As a reminder, we solicited bids on this last fall, actually last summer. We only got one bid, that was from R&A Enterprises. The board reviewed that, and at the time, this was at the September 15th meeting, the quote was approved, but the request was from R&A Enterprises to supply a more detailed cost summary before it was executed. We never received that, and so the agreement was not executed. So we still have that quote from here. We have also since received a quote from Mark II Metal LLC. So these are the two quotes that are in front of us. Dennis, I think you had a comment that you wanted to make about this.
I asked, well, he happens to be my nephew, but I did ask him as a contractor why he didn't put a bid on it. And he looked at the project and what he said was it's not an easy project because it's a corrugated roof, and any snow guards they put up there, the company for them to
Warranty 'em?
thank you, warranty them. They has to be met to their specific guidelines. If they're not, then the warranty wouldn't be in place. So basically what he was saying was it's a very difficult project to do, and decided not to stay away from it. And that was just more me getting input from him, not trying to convince him to do it, just ask him why he didn't put a bid for it. So I just wanted to say that for these other two bids, that at least we have two other bids. It does obviously seem expensive, but I think these people that are bidding on this are looking at the standpoint of the cost that's involved because of the style roof that's at the town garage. So.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. So we've solicited bids from a number of folks. We've only received two back. We have the one from RNA and the one from Mark II. The RNA estimate is the bid is for $1,700.
17,000.
17,000, I'm sorry. And then the one from Mark II is for 15,000.
Do we know if the RNA one is? It looks like the date on it is from May of 2025. Are they still willing to do it for the same price?
I don't think they are.
I don't think he even wants to do it anymore.
No.
To be honest. But we have that, and so that's, I'm putting it here as a reference point for folks. Okay. I think he has enough work right now up at JP that I don't think he would actually want to do this project now.
Larry's got a question.
Yes, Larry.
Try Brian Deary. He does metal roofing, he does this for a living, he's extremely good, very inexpensive. He's a one-man show.
Yeah, I didn't think of Brian
all
from
the
Sheldon.
insurances and stuff.
Yeah.
You tried Brian?
I didn't try Brian,
You
no.
didn't?
No.
Jim Bilodeau,
We tried Jim Bilodeau, he said no.
he didn't good on it?
No,
That surprises me.
yeah.
There's a couple others, of course, that are very expensive. Champlain Roofing,
Yeah,
CG Family Company, they do roofing, CG. They're not from far away, they would take care of this area.
yeah, yeah,
Just other options.
yeah.
So I would suggest Brian, he's very good.
Thanks, Larry. So I guess the decision with the board tonight is we can keep trying to solicit new bids. Larry's offered someone that we haven't talked to yet, so we can certainly kick this to our next meeting, and between now and then try to get other bids. There is a point at which if we're going to get these on before winter, we do want to do it. But it's the pleasure of the board if we want to wait and try to get another bid or multiple more bids, or if we want to act on this.
I would say that we should at least give a short-term stay of execution, if you will, and have somebody have a chance to put a bid out by the next meeting. Is that appropriate?
Fine with me.
Okay. So do you want me to make a motion?
No, that's fine. If we don't need to make a motion for a non-affirmative action, but if we're going to table it, we can table it.
I would table and give them
Yep.
till the next board meeting.
Okay. And Mark, did you write down the name of
Yeah, I know
Larry's
who he is.
suggestion?
I know who
Okay,
he is.
great. All right, so then we'll table the snow guards.
Did you have anybody else, Larry, or?
That's all I can think of.
If you think of anybody, just
Send us an
email us.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate it. All right, so we'll table that. I do want to thank, the folks that did submit bids on that. That brings us to water system, general updates. The only thing I've got here tonight is, I guess two things. One is Ross recently went around and replaced a number of touchpads on meters. And when that happened, the meters basically reactivated and calculated total usage for the period of time that the meter was not working. Some of this spanned a very long time period, and so it punched out a total water usage in a total amount that was reflected on the reports that went into the billing. And so bills went out that reflected an amount due based on total water usage over the base usage amount. What should have happened is the base usage should have come out of that total usage over the period of time that was being billed for. So for example, if you get 2,000 gallons of base usage and then there's a fee for every gallon on top of that, or every however many gallons, the 2,000 should have been deducted within that time frame. We just kind of caught this last week, and so Ross and Aaron are going back through. They've begun issuing some revised bills to people, but if folks do reach out or have questions about their bill because it looks wild, just tell folks to reach out. We'll double check it. It was just a case of the billing going off of the reporting and the reporting not accounting for the math in the right way. So I just want to make folks aware of that. We're aware of it. We're issuing revised bills to folks, and those are kind of pending. The other note here is that either at our next meeting or the first meeting in September, we're going to have Ross come in to kind of meet with the board and do kind of an update of what's going on with the system. We'll try to do these maybe twice a year. Ross is also going to talk a little bit about some of the capital needs that he might be seeing. So just to check in, talk about that. That discussion is going to feed into some of the more long-term water budget stuff we're going to be looking at. Water rates have been on the agenda for a while. We're going to do a comparison looking at the VT rural water dashboard they've got that looks at rates. So just kind of flagging, not tonight, but we're going to be digging into that a little bit more.
Well, I do have something for tonight.
Oh, yeah.
On filter A, the 2 more actuators are not working properly, so we need to replace 2 more actuators. We replaced.
Can I pause you for 1 second? Hey, Will, it sounds like we just lost video and sound online.
That's all right. It's nice and soft. Look at it. Come on. You sit
I
next
like
to
that
Carrie.
key right here, trust
You
me,
sit
I do.
next to Carrie. Come on.
Here, but thank you.
Just probably use that automatic update.
Yeah, probably.
I don't want a little kitty thing. No, I'm fine.
You don't want to be that close.
I'm fine. I sit on my ass a lot. I don't need to sit there anymore. Thank you, Charlie.
No problem.
But no kidding, she was this old lady.
Okay, I think we're good. Double check the audio. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that.
Okay, I think we're back. Give me 1 second just to confirm. Can someone, hey Brent, can you come off mute and just shout out if you can hear us? Okay, we're getting thumbs up. Sounds like we're back. Okay, thanks, Will. Mark, sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay, so we need 2 more new actuators for filter A. I mean, the system was put in 2007 and we replaced, I think there's 6 actuators on there and I think we replaced 4 of them. So we need to replace 2 more. The actuators actually open the valves and close the valves automatically when the system is running. So Ross told me today there was another one failing, and so we might as well get 2 and get them both replaced at the same time. I think it's roughly around $5,000 a piece, $3,000 for the actuator, then to get them installed. So replacing 2 at the same time, they'll be there, you know, won't cost quite as much. So I guess I'll make a motion to replace 2 more actuators on filter A.
Okay, we've got a motion from Mark to approve the purchase of 2 additional actuators to address the problem with filter A and have a backup. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second from Chris. Is there any discussion on the motion?
When you say they're failing, like they're complete failure, starting to fail?
Yeah, they aren't opening and closing the way they should, and there's, you can clean the solenoids and everything, but they just, at a certain point, they wear out.
Right, no, yeah, understood.
They were put in 2007,
It's
so,
almost 20 years old.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Chris has a
Hold
question.
on 1 second. I just wanted to check something on the Zoom. I think we're good. All right, sorry. Question from Chris about the actuators.
With the cost of these actuators, is there, like, can the old ones be sent out rebuilt, even if they were just to be sitting on a shelf waiting for the next time they fail?
No, we have looked into that, and it's easier just to get, non-rebuildable, yeah. And then there's only one company around that replaces them, and then only one company to get them from, Pure Flow, so that's why. Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, motion carries.
Okay, I'll tell Ross to go ahead and order them.
Great, thanks, Mark. All right, that brings us through water system. Is the sign-in sheet somewhere out there in the world? And have folks already signed it?
I got
If we could just do a quick signature, and then we're gonna go to visitors, and I'm just gonna go down the list. That way we can keep track as opposed to trying to work our way around the room.
Expenses. What is it? Does water have its own expense? Or is it public works?
That's probably it.
Public works.
Yeah. Water's not on this one, it's separate.
But it's not.
It's not on this one, water system's separate.
Oh, it's separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Can I please have it? Thanks.
Careful. Who? Him? Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna start in the room, and then we're gonna go to the Zoom. So I'm just gonna go down the list that folks sign in on. So Carol and Pat Farmer. Anything for visitors?
I got nothing right now, but reserve, right.
Yep. Yeah, if there's an agenda item later that you want to talk to, that's fine. We'll get to it. But anything? Okay.
Thanks.
Lori Ellis.
Not right yet, but I'll get back to you.
All right, great.
I second that.
Chris. Yeah.
I'll get back to you
Awesome.
as well.
Cliff.
I have nothing on this subject.
Okay. Tosca.
Unless you want to bump my estimates up to right now, but I
Okay.
can-
We'll wait. Raphael. You're good. All right. Carrie.
Yes, I did. And actually, I was waiting for you to ask for the public, if we were allowed to add anything to the agenda. I guess we're not in the beginning of the meeting.
So the agenda gets posted on Fridays. At the beginning of the agenda, at the beginning of the meeting, board members can add and delete stuff, but we generally don't have items being added by the public. And I gotta say, just so it's clear, I send the agenda to Liz very first thing in the morning Friday. So if people do have items they want discussed, you're welcome to send them. If you can get them to me by like Thursday afternoon, we can talk about adding them. But just to be clear, the agendas go up for posting Friday morning first thing. We try to get them up Friday morning first thing.
So I, in the past, last time I asked to add something to the agenda, I think it was the short-term ordinance, I sent it to you on a Friday to get 2, and then Saturday you wrote me back saying it was added. And so for this one, I sent it to you on Friday, and I would like it to be added to at least to one of the agenda points that you have already listed.
Just to be clear, the item that you wanted was already on the agenda, which is why it was added.
Yeah, it's not even close to the same thing, but it's related.
Okay, I'm just saying the prior, like, that's why I said it was added, because it was already there.
Sorry, I can submit it for public record if you need. I just wanted to ask. I'll talk to you at that with the conflicts of interest,
Okay,
I think.
okay, Josh?
For the record, my name is Josh Howard. I'm handing Charlie, Daniel, and each member of the board a formal written conflict of interest and a mandatory recusal challenge. I demand that this complete packet and all component evidence exhibits be entered directly into tonight's permanent municipal record. First, Charlie Hancock, I have submitted evidence of your March 31st mass email where you utilized your official position to campaign against a Montgomery taxpayer charter petition explicitly commending voters to please vote no on 2 because it could doom the wastewater project. This active advocacy that demonstrates a total lack of required public neutrality, legally disqualifying you from voting on the septic project. Second, Vice Chair Khan, I have submitted public admissions from your mother proving that her Main Street commercial properties in Salt Cave and Coach House stand to directly profit from this infrastructure. Under Vermont law and our current ordinance, you cannot vote on funding or approvals to enrich your immediate family assets. Finally, this board lacks lawful jurisdiction to vote on item 6C tonight. Looking at your own red lines packet, it is obvious that Charlie Hancock took it upon himself to rewrite and alter the rules for the sole purpose of gutting this ethics ordinance to block my challenge right now. You cannot legally change the rules mid-game to protect yourselves. Rushing these challenges through tonight completely bypasses the mandatory 30-day public notice requirement under 24 VSA section 1993. Any vote taken on your ordinance tonight is bad faith and void from the beginning. If this body fails to process with these written challenges under section 4C3, this complete packet will be forwarded directly to the Vermont State Ethics Commission and State Auditor's Office immediate external review.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have a digital?
Are we jumping to this subject yet?
That wasn't
Public commission.
it wasn't the intent, but,
Okay, so.
well, no, like, let's
Finish
Okay.
visitors
let's
first.
finish visitors and try to get everything else out of the
Mine's
way.
much more fun.
If you've
This
got,
one's for the minutes, this one's for you.
yeah, do you have a digital copy of this?
No, I do not. I can get you one.
I mean, if you could email it, that'd be great, just because, scanning it again is gonna, like,
You can scan it as many times as you need to.
yeah, it was more just a case of quality of scanning. All right, thank you, Josh.
No problem.
Amy,
I don't know if you want me to speak now or when you get to the.
if it's related to an agenda item coming up, let's hold off on that, if we can. Okay,
Yeah, it's doing what he was talking about.
okay, thanks, Amy. Brad.
All right.
All right, thanks, Brad. Sarita,
Yeah, I was following what was going on online about, conflict of interest, thing.
okay,
And, basically, you know, to say that Daniel needs to be, has a conflict of interest because his mother has a building that may or may not have a laundry system in there. The laundry with the wastewater project would make it possible for my tenants long-term and short-term to have, washing machines. So, you know, it's crazy. He doesn't stand to benefit from fossil fuels, and if he's for the wastewater project, if you take it all the way down the line, nobody could vote for or against the wastewater. Because if, for example, like Peter, he's totally against the wastewater project, and if he was on the board, he would vote against it because he's out of it. He wouldn't even get in the thing. So I mean, who here, whether you are going to directly benefit with being on it, or because you are out of the downtown area where you would equally be benefiting by not having the wastewater. So then that leaves somebody from out of town to vote for it because every single person is affected by the wastewater. I would also like to say that I think sometimes we lose the forest to the trees. We have a select board here who are absolutely dedicated to this community, do a phenomenal job. They work for a pittance, and the amount of hours that they have to put in is incredible. And I think it's a thankless task, and I think what is happening here is that the sense of community is being torn apart, and all it is doing is increasing costs. Every different thing that's coming on, you have to get a lawyer to sign up, and who pays for it? Us, the taxpayers. We are so taxed at the moment. I think it's time for us to start thinking seriously about reducing the level of this expansion. So, for example, the ordinance. Burlington put in an ordinance, a short-term ordinance, and they have penalties, just like the proposed ordinance here does. They haven't been able to collect the penalties in many cases, and it's been tied up in court for 3 years. Guess who pays for that? The taxpayers. The ordinance issue is something that, you know, we've been renting short-term rentals in Montgomery for 50 years. There's even a community, Alpine Haven, like I've mentioned repeatedly. Half of it's in Montgomery, half in Westfield. What does that do to somebody who owns in Montgomery when that Westfield, you know, come in, oh, you have all these ordinances and rules. You know what? I'm only going to buy on the Westfield side. That is a lawsuit waiting to happen, which guess what? These people, not Montgomery pays. The issue of the safety and the safety of the short-term rentals and the need for it. That's taken care of by Airbnb platforms and VRBO. And if somebody is renting and doesn't have the appropriate insurance, then that's on them. Let them be taken to the cleaners. That is not a town affair. So I just think, first of all, I want to thank you very much. And secondly, I think, yeah, this is all getting too much.
Thanks, Rita. Next up, Anita. Anything, Anita? Okay. Larry?
No, not at this time. Thank you very much.
Yep.
For asking.
Peter?
Yes, in response to Sarita, I object to her putting words in my mouth about my position with wastewater. It's not the wastewater per se that I was against, it was the housing tie-in to the infrastructure addition. So please correct your understanding, because it was wrong. As far as conflict of interest, you both have been in the hospitality business extensively in the area for several years. You're both involved with the industry lobby, Vermont, whatever, which supports the lobby group for short-term rental support. And to have someone then on a governing board voting in relationship to short-term rentals is, I think, in my opinion and others, a very clear conflict of interest. In terms of something to gain, I suppose the whole town gains from wastewater, but you gain in particular, because you've got a failing system, as do several others.
Correction, I don't have a failing system, and I even do have a backup system.
So why are cars sinking in your parking lot?
Can we just do a timeout quick? We're gonna do public comment, and we do want to avoid like conversation.
Yes.
Conversations are great if they happen outside, but right now we're just doing public comment.
Okay.
So, but I didn't want to cut you off, but feel free to finish.
So to conclude, to me, there's a very apparent conflict of interest with Daniel voting on this topic as a selectman.
Okay.
Financially.
Thanks, Peter. Lynn, I think Lynn's here. You're good?
Yes, thank you.
Benjamin?
No.
Nothing? All right. Christina?
All set?
Great. Don? Good. Chris?
Later.
All right. Teresa?
You're waning.
I'll probably later.
Okay.
You know I will. So.
And then Mary Beth. Where'd you go, Mary Beth? Oh,
I was just interested in some things that have already been said about conflict of interest.
okay, great.
I don't think we need that.
Did you want to?
Yeah, since we're on that subject.
I really don't want to. I want to go to the conflict of interest section. I want to give folks an opportunity to comment if they want to, but like I'd like to hold that conversation until we get to that agenda topic.
That's
if
fine,
that's okay.
that's fine. Put it out there.
All right, thank you. All right, now we're gonna go to the Zoom. Brent, you're good. All right, Roberta.
I'm all set.
Okay, thanks, Roberta. Michael Miller. Again, Michael Miller, if you're on the Zoom and you want to come off for a comment for visitors, please do so. All right, we'll go to Gabby.
All set.
Thanks. Montgomery Fire. I'm guessing that's Doug.
Okay.
Doug, anything for visitors? All right, and then I see iPhone. I don't have a name associated with that one. iPhone, do you have anything for visitors? All right, not hearing anything. Okay. Old business, these are gonna be some updates pretty quick. Municipal wastewater system project, so the indirect discharge permit hearing that DEC was running was just before this. They took a host of comments. They're gonna post those comments and responses to them on the environmental bulletin webpage. So if folks wanna see those, just search Montgomery, Vermont Environmental Bulletin DEC and you'll find the page for that. I don't know how soon they'll be posted, but those will be up there. The only other update with the wastewater system project is we were supposed to have bid openings last week. Since the initial meeting that was here, the pre-bid meeting, we've had a lot of comments or a lot of questions come in from folks who are bidding on it. And so what the engineers at A&E decided was they're going to draft and have drafted an addendum to the bid documents to address all the questions that they've got. And they've put that back out. And what that did, it pushed the bid opening 2 weeks. So the bid opening is going to be next Wednesday. That's the update on the wastewater system project. Not hearing anything, we're gonna go to street safe project, so same thing we've been saying for a while, we're just working through right of way. The state signed off on the plans, Sarah is now drafting all of the temporary easement material for folks. Again, that is just to allow folks to work in the sidewalk area while those are going in. Those are hopefully gonna start to go out this month, because it's August, so that's the intended plan there. So folks might start to see those show up. Yes, Larry, question on the
I
street
just
safe.
want to back up a little bit to the gentlemen that were here, they're gonna answer all the questions. Can you post their answers on the town website for us, so we don't have to keep going in and see if they're there?
Yeah. I'd have to figure out what format they're gonna be in, because, I mean, what we can do is we can post like a notice that says comments have been posted with a link. I don't know if I can post the actual,
Okay.
like cut and
That would be
paste,
helpful.
but that's a good question and we'll try to get that up there.
I got a question, Charlie, quick.
Yes.
For the wastewater, with the bids going out 2 more weeks, thought you wanted to break ground, now this has been 2 years, you wanted to break ground in September. Are you gonna be able to break ground in September?
I have no idea, Teresa.
And how much money have you capped the money situation? Because things are very expensive here.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
we still have the same overall project budget, and so, you
and
know,
if it goes over, are you gonna go get more money from what's his face down in Montpelier?
talking about our governor.
Yeah, that's what's his face. I mean, all the politicians are the same, so it's what's his face.
Yeah, I don't know. It all comes down basically to the same thing we've been saying, which is the affordability metric of user rates being the target where we tried to put them. And so if the project comes back and the bids are too high and the budget's not there, it's not gonna happen.
But I mean, you could probably get more money from him.
I have no idea.
Oh, come on, Charlie, you go down there a
So
lot.
when does the federal money expire? It should be by now.
Yeah, so as far as the federal money goes, all the money is still there. We've received an extension from rural development. We need to go back to them.
But you only get how many extensions before they just say, "Nope"?
I don't know.
Yeah. Trust me, as a federal person that worked for federal government for a long time.
Yep, no, I know.
You got a timeline and you don't keep it, they yank it back.
Yep.
That's not true, sorry.
So.
Oh, not true.
Hey, can we just, let's, just because with other talk in the room, it does become hard online to hear. So we'll go around and address folks' comments, but let's do it one by one. So yes, well, we have extensions and they are in place, whether they turn to a pumpkin tomorrow or a month from now.
No, I just want to
don't
know how many extensions you got left.
Yeah,
that's all.
no, I don't know. And I have asked that question and they've said,
Because there is a limit.
we don't know. So anyway, Tosca, did you have a question on this?
I just wanted to respond, we got $1 million in 1997 after the flood and used it in 2007 because our federal regulators do not give that money back. Once they fight for it, they keep it for you, and we segued a septic grant into a water grant, and it sat there for 20 years. So it's not always the case that they take
It just
it
needs to be
back.
reported to the feds, that's all. It'll be
They
back.
must have said that. Anyway.
All right, thanks, Tosca. Larry, I see your hand up.
With all the bid documents out there, did they request the bidders to do any cost saving suggestions or engineering? Quite often, people are bidding on jobs, see something that the engineers that did all this don't realize that they can be saving money by doing it from a different approach. Was that done?
I believe it was done, and I believe they've also received comments to that effect in terms of, hey, you've said this, could we do this? And so a lot of that is being addressed through that addendum. So that work is happening. Yeah, Chris?
Will the bids be made public after they're done open?
Yeah. Yep. Anything else on the wastewater system?
One question.
Peter?
Are all the easements in? And if not, how are the bids encompassing the entire scope of project?
No, we still have 5 or so easements to figure out. I don't have a list in front of me, maybe 6. And the bids are being put in on the entire scope of the project.
So with or without those bids?
The bids include the property if you don't have easements on.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right, streetscape project, any questions on that one before we move on?
When are you gonna tear the post office down?
So we're working on some of the legwork for that right now. I'm soliciting quotes from people right now to do asbestos remediation. One of the first steps there is to get someone in there to look at the building and to figure out whether we've got asbestos, and if so, where and how much, and what the remediation costs. I've also started to solicit quotes for the demo on it. So right now we're in the figuring out how much it'll cost phase. We don't have a timeline on when it'll happen though. Any other questions on the streetscape project? All right, not hearing any. The PSB renovation, so for this building, I believe the construction numbers from Millbrook have been received by Liz and Chi, the architect we're working with. So we have the final cost estimates. Those are going to be up at the next select board meeting, at the August 17th meeting. So a review of that will be at that meeting. But we do have those estimates in now, and so that'll be up for discussion next time and review. Questions there? Nope. All right. The next item up here is the budget closeout status report, and we can move to that, or if folks want to skip A and B and jump right to C, since that's what most people here appear to be here for, we can do that. It's at the pleasure of the board.
Let's skip it.
Yeah, let's go to C.
Skip item C altogether?
No. Skip A and B.
All right.
A's budget, and what's B?
Just delinquent tax. Yep. Yeah. These are just budget status reports that we're going to go through, and then the municipal tax rate is just an update. Kat's been doing a bang-up job. Okay. So municipal conflict of interest policy, proposed amendments, and then we can get into all the conversation around it. So to frame this, topic of conversation at many board meetings recently has been conflict of interest. It's brought up in many times. Following the last meeting, I was thinking about this and I thought, look, we have this current policy. This is the mechanism that we use to address this. I pulled it out to see whether there's anything we can do in there to strengthen it based on comments we've received, as well as based on additional context around this. So since the policy was last adopted, the legislature passed Act 171. That established a municipal code of ethics that went into effect in 2025. This includes a formal municipal code of ethics that we're all subject to, applies to all officials. It also has training requirements, so there's been some contextual stuff around the policy which has changed. So I took a stab at drafting a revised policy with the intent of strengthening it and addressing the changes that kind of came through Act 171. I want to be clear, I drafted this on my own, so if folks have problems with it, it's my fault. And the reason I did that is because anytime more than two of us get together, it's a public warned meeting. And so my intent was to draft a proposal, put it out there for conversation, warn it, put it online so folks could read it, and then bring it to this meeting for discussion, edits, markup, or Charlie, you're dumb, go away, whatever the outcome is. But that was the intent, was to draft an amended policy for discussion. We can kick the tires on it, see what's going on. So again, the intent with the amended policy was to provide greater clarity, strengthen some provisions in here that were a little bit ambiguous. It's got added provisions around board disclosures that weren't there before. There's some added wording around recording of this stuff to ensure that the public record is reflected clearly. And then it breaks out the steps around this a little more clearly in terms of process. So the disclosure, the recusal, all that kind of stuff. So again, the goal here was to strengthen it, not to gut it. If I missed the mark on that completely, I apologize, but that was the intent. And so the goal was to bring this tonight for discussion. I have some edits to it. Chris has pointed out some as well. And so I fully don't expect this would be something that would be adopted tonight. Rather, it would be discussed. We'd get public feedback on it. and then we'd figure out what direction to go from there. So that's the framing of what we're talking about and where that draft came from. So I'm gonna start by opening up conversation on the board around this, and then we're gonna go to public comment on it. So with that, I want to open up board discussion. Board members, you've got the old policy, the redlined policy, and then the clean draft of the proposed amended version in front of you.
There's 3 of them?
Yeah, there should be the old one, which says revised March 19th, 2018. Then there's a redline version that has a bunch of red text and green text and blue text and black text.
I don't have the draft.
And then there should be copies for everybody down there.
Take mine? Or Skippy?
I don't think so.
I sent down enough copies to that end of the table.
This is the original.
Which copy do you not have one of?
The draft.
The draft. The clean draft or the red line draft? That one.
You've got the red.
I got it now because he gave it to me.
Okay, do you have a copy of that, Mark? If not, take mine and I can look at the computer.
I mean, pretty much what we have.
No, I was just, I'll have to read all through the red lines.
Yeah.
So just, I guess, real quick to kick it off, there's some edits to the proposed draft that I want to point out real quick. One is that the statutory reference under 30, that was updated from 2018, but the legislature repealed that since it was updated. So that needs to be re-updated.
So where's that?
That's just under authority, the statutory reference. That's changed multiple times since 2018, but we need to kind of go back to change that again.
Okay.
There's some minor textual things that I've got, and then there's one addition. Can we, hey, excuse me, folks, just again, because it's hard to hear with the mics online, if we can limit conversation in the room. If you do want to have a conversation with somebody, you are welcome to go outside and have it, but if we can limit the talk in the room during it, that'd be much appreciated. Thank you. The one thing that I did realize was not included in this draft, but was included in the old policy, was under prohibited conduct, Article 5, number F in the draft. Currently, the proposal draft reads, a public officer who is a member of a public body shall not give the impression that he or she has the authority to make decisions or take actions on behalf of that body. The part that, if we're gonna add it back from the old one, would read, comma, unless specifically authorized by motion. There are times where we'll authorize me or Mark or somebody to essentially act on behalf of the board once something has been moved. So that's one textual, but also like not a spelling mistake thing that I noted in the review of this. So discussion from board members.
Yeah, I had a couple of, that you may already have, a couple of like, spelling kind of typo things.
Yeah.
At the top of page 2, it says conflict of interest as, and I think it should say is.
Yeah, I caught that one too. Yep.
And then for Article 8, the Roman numeral 8
Did I not use the right Roman numeral?
is, yeah.
So
It
article,
should be VIII.
not XX,
Not
not IIX.
Yeah.
VIII, okay.
Nice.
Tried to pull out my elementary school Roman numerals, but it's been a while. All right.
And then I have a couple other.
Yeah, but you, by all means, jump into it.
Just find my spot here. So, I had a question about Article 5A. And
Article.
a couple of, which is prohibited conduct. And then, and my first comment is, it talks about real or perceived conflicts.
Yes.
And I think we should add that language from the statute that says the appearance of a conflict shall be determined from the perspective of a reasonable individual with knowledge of the relevant facts.
Okay.
Either there or in the definitions.
I might circle back to get the full
Yep.
text. I'm just going to make some notes about.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
And then I also thought that section was a little bit unclear because there's I know in the state municipal code of ethics, it still has that sort of exception where you can explain why your perceived conflict of interest is not a real conflict, and you can offer a written explanation and not recuse.
Yep.
And I didn't know if this,
Yeah.
but then A just says that you shall not participate. And so I didn't know, even though it kind of goes into that recusal process down below and about whether you're recusing or not, but I didn't know if the intent here was to close that off as an option or.
Yeah, because under what is currently the VIII one, the recusal, it does talk about how after taking the actions listed in Articles 6 and 7, a public officer, whether appointed or elected, shall declare whether he or she will recuse him or herself and explain the basis of that decision. So that's, I think, where that was meant to get captured, but if we can clarify that greater up top.
I just thought it was a little bit confusing because then up top, if you're just reading this, when it just says shall not participate.
Okay, and that was
Maybe we need like
under
an accept.
the shall not participate.
Article 5, Section A.
Section A, a public officer shall not participate. Okay, so the other thing was to reference, so the question was about shall not participate in the context of not recusing. And explanation given?
Right.
Okay.
You like being the secretary too, Charlie?
Yeah.
Hire a secretary.
Shall not participate with explanation is given. Ask Chris. Okay, thanks, Chris.
And then the other things that I noticed that were, so I went through and I compared both documents.
Yep.
To see things that were removed. And the only two other things that I saw that were removed, and I didn't know if it was intentional, was in the original section 4B3.
4B3, the recusal from official action.
Official action. Number 3 says public officers shall not offer their individual professional services to applicants while applications or matters are pending.
Okay, is that, and that's not reflected
And
anywhere?
I did not see that anywhere in the new document, so I don't know if
Okay.
that just got missed or if that's
I
covered by something
thought it was
broader.
covered by something else, but we will flag this and double check.
Because I figured the goal wasn't to take that out.
Yep. No, and again, like one of the points of this review is like if there is something in the old document that is not reflected here, even if the language is slightly different, we want to make sure that we capture it.
And then the only other thing that was removed was under Section 4C disclosure.
Section
4C disclosure number 3. It's on page 4 of the original.
Yep.
At the very end of that section, it says if the member with potential conflict does not recuse him or herself, if a majority of those voting vote in favor of the motion, and if the member with a potential conflict does not recuse him or herself, the chair of the public body shall refer the action of the public body to the select board. And so I don't know if we need that or if that's in line with the state municipal code of ethics. So, I mean, presumably that would be.
Can you point to where?
Yeah, right there.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong paragraph. If the majority of those voting vote in favor of the motion, and if the member with the potential conflict recuse himself, the chair of the public body shall refer the action. So
that would be like, I'm assuming that would be like for something that happens in another committee.
yeah, I guess. Because that was tried to get captured in the process of like enforcement.
Yeah, I knew there was the whole enforcement thing. The only piece that I saw that I thought wasn't in there was the other committees notifying the select board
Okay,
when
so
somebody refuses to
cross-check
recuse.
for enforcement. All right.
And other than that, it just seemed like, more stuff that was added than taken away. So that, I saw you added a bunch of new sections about gifts and ex parte communications and things that are in the state municipal code of conduct, but that were not in our original document.
Yep. Yeah, the other significant addition here, which was from comments we've received, was under disclosure. And so what this draft proposes is that every public official would file with the municipal clerk a disclosure that has, I'm gonna read this, the official's employer or business name, that's one. Two, if self-employed, a description of the nature of the self-employment, including the names of any clients whose principal business activities are regulated by or that have a contract with the municipality, provided that this information is known to the officer or the officer's spouse or domestic partner, and that the disclosed information is not confidential information. Three, any boards, commission, or other entity that is regulated by law on which the officer serves and the officer's position on that entity. And four, the full name of the officer's spouse and domestic partner. And I just want to point out, three, the language is regulated by law is meant to infer that, like, if you serve on the board of a nonprofit or a state commission or some other legal entity, it's not that, like, I have a book club or, you know what I mean? That's why that legal entity is in there. That's what that means.
No.
I'm sorry, regulated by law.
Regulated by law.
Other discussion, feedback from board members?
So this was added?
The
Yeah,
disclosure
that
part?
disclosure was
Yeah,
added.
that's new.
Yeah, that's new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that the policy is about 38% longer now. So I definitely think it beefed up quite a bit. One thing that was taken out that I just wanted to check in with you on was the posting of it. Whereas before it was going to be posted publicly, and now it is going to be posted online. Can you talk through the?
Yeah, where was the posting?
On the new one, it's the last Article 14 notice. The policy shall be entered into the minutes of the town records and shall be posted to the municipal website.
Yeah.
So that was obviates the need to like put up at the gas stations, right? Or like in public places just to focus on the website.
Yeah, the one thing that I will go back and check is that was intended to be a like signed, sealed, delivered, adopted, good to go, it's ready. It's going to be in the minutes. It's also going to be on the municipal website. I have a note to do this, but I'll put another one here. When we adopt an ordinance, there's a system for posting and warning. If we adopt a bylaw, there's a system for posting and warning. I don't know if policies have a specific process. So the one thing that I will check is if and when the time comes that the board says, okay, we're comfortable with this text, I'll find out whether that kicks into now you have to post it in 5 conspicuous places for a period of X number of days. Is there a mechanism where like a voter petition could challenge it? I don't know the answers to those questions, but I will check.
Okay. I think it still should be posted, you know, places around town, so people can see it. Yeah.
Sure, but the idea there being that we would post it for a certain amount of time.
Well, yeah.
Wouldn't be.
But I thought all ordinances had to be posted for a certain amount of time.
Well, ordinances definitely do. So do bylaws.
Well,
I don't know.
should.
Yeah, and we can. It's not like if it's not in the law, we're not going to do it. But again, this was the idea here was like that's where you'll find it going forward. So we can certainly post the policy for a certain amount of time. Those postings physical will come down at some point.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, we can. So, yep.
It gets posted before it's, you know.
Yeah, and we can also, if there's nothing in statute that says thou shalt post this for X number of days.
Because everybody doesn't go on the computers and all that stuff.
Yeah, we still do.
It should be, you know.
Yep. All right. Any other comments, feedback, edits from the board? And then we're going to go back around the room for visitors, or public comment, I should say.
And are the board members who are self-employed, have you guys looked at the disclosure? Because I know the disclosure requirements are different for self-employed. And are those acceptable to you, or does it seem like it would be too onerous?
I don't have a problem.
No problem.
All right, if there's no other feedback or comments from the board, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go back around the room, and I'm just gonna go back through the list, and folks can provide comments or not, depending on what you wanna do. All right, so we're gonna start with Pat and Carol Farmer. You wanna pass and then come back to you? Okay. Pass. Lori.
I'm gonna pass for now.
Okay. Chris.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Basically, trying to understand it more, I went to the state code of ethics, just trying to, find out what's right, what's wrong. And I ended up getting a phone call back. In that phone call, I was told that they no longer have enough employees to cover municipal conflicts.
Yeah.
That it's one assistant and one director.
Yeah.
They, within the next 3 or 4 months, they have an approval waiting, they're gonna hire an attorney. So with that being said, they don't actually have any authority, they don't handle it, they don't do nothing.
Yeah.
So if there is in any municipality a conflict, that you bring it to the board. So in this case, if a conflict has arisen, the person who's like in the defendant chair literally is the defining partner, party.
Is
You know what I'm saying? Like basically, you're the final decision maker as this select board.
The board would be, okay.
So the question is that the case? So
I honestly-
like, you don't have to answer to state that you guys are the end.
So I don't actually know, like when Act 171 was passed, and this was brought up almost immediately, they didn't put any money into actually funding the Ethics Commission. And this has been an issue that was brought up. I was in a public meeting 7 or 8 months ago about this, because the comment was made, like, if no one's there to answer your questions, what's the point of having a commission to answer questions? The legislature has funded it. So I think the key is, like, once the funding comes in, that's when they can hire the attorney, like you said. I don't know in the interim. I mean, I think based on the policies that I've read and what's online from the Ethics Commission, in the absence of an Ethics Commission being able to adjudicate something, then yeah, it would come to the Select Board as the governing body of the town. And this board would basically review it against the policy and say, does this meet the policy or not?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I speak to that?
Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
So after last 2 weeks ago when we had the meeting, I had mentioned I'd reach out to the Ethics Commission, so did just that. Didn't hear back from them for quite a while. Their website does say that they're not responding to anything. And at about 2 o'clock this afternoon, I got a call back from them, which was great. The woman, I believe her name is P.E.G. She's the assistant or the administrative assistant for the Ethics Commission. She's one of those 2 employees. It's her and the director. There's funding for 20 hours a week for each of them for all of the state's ethics, everything. When I brought the questions that I wanted to her, she said very explicitly, they are refusing to respond to these concerns. And what I read that to be is any municipal officer with questions, they're not gonna answer questions. It sounds like in the 20 hours a week that the director has, the director will field questions about complaints of municipal officers. So I, as a municipal officer, can't preemptively go ask if one thing is one way or another. But the public or people can reach out to the Ethics Commission and say, hey, I'm concerned about this, and those should still be honored. Whether it takes weeks for reach out, I can't speak to any of that. Yeah. They did mention that the legislature did pass funding, which will, in about 6 months is what she said, within 6 months, they will have a municipal attorney, at which point they will be able to start advising municipal officers on such ethics concerns. Before we get ahead on the list here, just we're going to take a second because maybe this might help assuage some concerns. In recent meetings, it's been made apparent there are 2 primary concerns with me specifically, one being the wastewater project and the other being the short-term rental ordinance. Again, for the record, the wastewater project, the concern is that my parents own the Vermont Salt Cave and Coach House Apartments on Main Street, and they would benefit from the wastewater. The second concern is the short-term rental ordinance. I run Crofters Green, which is a lodging establishment. I'm in the hospitality business, and there has been concerns about a conflict of interest there. As I understand it currently, and as I look at it, and let me finish on. I'd like to finish this whole thing before we take any questions on it. I don't believe I have a conflict of interest on those 2 fronts. When I look at the wastewater project, I look at a project that will be servicing our entire community, that will be servicing over 100 homes. And the same way that I would recuse myself from approving the road budget because I drive on the road. That's the same way I look at this. If for example, the Coach House Apartments decides to put in a laundromat, the Coach House Apartments has the ability to do that, as does everyone else on the system should they choose. And the way that the letter of the law is written is that it is not an outsized benefit to that sort of conflict. On the second point, the short-term rental ordinance. I run Crofters Green, which is a wedding venue and a vacation rental property. I have a license with the Department of Health. I am a lodging establishment, the same as a hotel. Those are the standards to which I'm held for insurance purposes, safety, all that jazz. That I use Airbnb, which is a platform that other short-term renters use and people who just rent out rooms or their accessory dwelling units. That doesn't make me, the Crofters Green, as I understand it, a short-term rental. I'm not a short-term renter. And as defined by the ordinance, again, whose terms can change, it can be defined differently. I don't feel like I fall into that. That being said, I do want to take the opportunity, in the absence of having a municipal ethics commission attorney able to advise on this, as well as our own town attorney being unable to speak with her in the last couple of days, I'm going to make the decision to temporarily recuse myself on both of those points until such a time that I speak to an attorney and am convinced one way or another. So for anyone else who wanted to speak to that, you're welcome to do so in a public forum right now. For the sake of time and everyone's time, if you'd like to speak to me afterwards or after the meeting, by all means, I'd be happy to make myself available. But if there are people with specific concerns about me, the wastewater, and the short-term rental ordinance, I will, for the time being, recuse myself until such a time that I speak with an attorney that makes me change my mind on that. So that's the comment I have on that, on those 2 points.
We're gonna keep going on the list. Cliff, you're up.
Okay. So since you just said that, which is pretty good, thank you. Falls right into where I'm going with this. So for the record, my name's Clifford Luce. I'm handing the chair a letter from me and everybody else on the board. Read at your leisure.
Thank you.
Did I miss you?
Should have. Thank you.
There you go. All right, now that you have it. So, I'm handing the chair select board a formal written objection under 1 VSA objection, section 312. We are putting this board and town attorney on notice that our tax dollars cannot legally be used to provide legal advice for any recusal challenges, since you just said that. If any member wants legal advice on their conflicts, they must retain legal advice personally. And number 2, I have a problem with the town, is why were my lights? Never mind.
Can I ask a clarifying question? I just want to make sure, is the statutory reference that you're citing here,
Yes.
is that a reference that...
Which reference are you talking about? I got them all here. Bud.
So pursuant to 1 VSA 312, and then you ask it, you say that your point about we can't use taxpayer money to ask about a conflict. I understand that. Is that a reference to that statute?
He just said it on the record that he did, so.
No, but I'm asking.
On the record that I did what?
So I guess my question is, I understand what you're saying about not using the town attorney to discuss a personal recusal matter. I understand that. My question is,
sure.
Are you citing a statute for that, or are you saying I, as Cliff Luce, am saying that we shouldn't do that?
You shouldn't do that based on the statutes.
Based on the 1 VSA 312.
Well, plus 24 VSA and for the town lawyer, it's the what do they call it? The board the lawyers have to deal with. And I got that there if you want me to read it.
It's the 24 VSA 1993.
Okay.
The misuse of public.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure we were clear on kind of like what you're citing here, as opposed to something you might be personally asserting. Yeah. Thank you for the clarity. Yep.
No. Go ahead, boss.
So, what you're saying with using Daniel as an example.
Well, I didn't have
It
helped right there. I was like, that's
great. But as a municipality, that municipality funds that he's not using money to talk to the state. That's what we're required to do. Is if there's a conflict that he's supposed to reach out.
Right, but not the town lawyer.
He said
Right.
about the town attorney.
No, I didn't.
No, we didn't.
I did not.
He said, he said,
No, I said until I speak, so I have not spoken, I haven't attempted to speak with the attorney. No, I said until such time that I speak with the attorney. I did mention the town attorney, but for the record, I have not spoken with her about this whatsoever. I believe she's on vacation this week, so that's not to say I wouldn't have, but I haven't. And also, and here it does say that your position is that the member must obtain and pay for private counsel, which would be contrary to what I had just discussed, which was soliciting a municipal attorney provided by the Ethics Commission, which is within the Ethics Commission's purview
That
to
is
provide.
correct. However, but if you're for advice from the attorney, other than from the state,
Okay.
you can't use the town attorney.
Okay, then I will
That's
not
what
do
I'm
so. I
saying.
haven't, and I will not do so.
I was referenced to the point of him talking to the state municipality and the lawyer to reference,
That's-
just clarify that. So I just wanted to make sure that
Nope,
that's what you were referencing to.
No,
This is the town's municipal.
I just understand that.
no.
Thanks for
The
the
number two
clarification.
piece is, did we get a resolve on why my rights were violated for the listener coming to my house?
Yeah, so I think, like I said in the email, what happened is that the number on the card to call for an appointment goes to the lister's inbox.
Correct.
And the system was supposedly set up so that any voicemails that got dropped
Well, that's
there.
great. I read your email, but I
Yeah.
want to get to the point, how were we fixing it?
Yeah, so I've got Liz working with our open approach folks and
Because
stuff.
I'm really pissed off.
No, I get it. And like, I think it was just the technology did not work the way that it was intended to make sure the proper notification got to who needed to get it. And Liz is working to make sure that that does not happen again. She's trying to go back in there to make sure there's no other messages that
I'm
got
sure I
dropped.
wasn't the only one.
I don't know. I haven't heard from anybody else,
Okay,
but
so I called the town first few months ahead of time to the lister, left her a message that, hey, just make an appointment. I understand you gotta get it. And then I did it again because I wasn't sure anybody got it. And then I went to the store with my father, came back, and he noted I got the sticker right on my door.
Congratulations.
I know, isn't that nice?
What's the big deal?
What's the big deal? It's a rights violation. It's my property.
They walk by my children, they walk by my no trespassing sign right at the road.
So there's a problem with that.
I sent Charlie a video of the back too.
yeah. So again, Cliff.
First of all, it's a gray area. The mere fact that lister can come on, plus you can do it by satellite. There's companies out there that can do it. You don't have to pay somebody to do it.
Understood. So I think in that instance, Cliff, it was the technology we had set up for the process.
Well, that's
didn't
fine,
work.
but I want to know how it's being fixed.
Yeah, so again, we're trying to make sure that the system that works that's in there is fixed so that that does not happen again. I don't have any other remedy beyond that. If you've got a recommended one, I'm happy to entertain.
Yeah, I just did it. Satellite imagery. You can do it all from space. There's companies out there that do this.
Okay, so the company that we have contracted that's working on it, I don't believe is using that technology, but we can certainly ask them about satellite.
There's other
technology.
states that do it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm not saying there aren't, I'm just saying that.
I'm just,
okay.
like I said, violation of my rights.
Point of order,
Understood. Point of order, Larry.
back to the ethics.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that subject. I'm still angry about that.
You were calling out names.
Yeah.
Yes,
He's
go
getting
back
back
to the
to-
list. I'm done.
Yeah, I was waiting for Cliff to finish. I didn't want.
No, I'm finished. I'm just basically putting everybody on notice that
Understood. Great.
here's the law.
Thanks, Cliff.
I'm watching.
Yep.
And for the record, when I did join the board last year, I spoke with Charlie about conflict of interest stuff. So I would need to go back through my emails to determine what communication was had. I don't believe I spoke with Sarah Buxton personally, but did speak with you about something. So I just want,
we kind of pulled the server stuff. So we know
Okay.
what's going on with the town.
okay. So I just wanted to make
Yeah.
that note.
Oh yeah.
Great. Thanks, Daniel. Tosca.
Come on.
My head hurts. I just want to briefly touch on a little bit of select board history and describe what, in my opinion, was one of the worst conflicts of interest that went on for a number of years in this town. It was prior to us having a policy of any sort on conflicts of interest. Eric Cota was the president of the water department. Eric Cota got every job for the water department, digging pipes, every single one. We had 4 contractors show up at the select board meeting. Paul Nichols, Sylvester's, Johnny Betts, and they all came at us and complained. Why does Eric Coda get all of the work for the water department? His brother Ken was the chairman of the select board and said to them, too bad, he's the only one that can do it. That is a very clear conflict of interest. Nothing was done about it.
Well, that caught me.
The other boys tried to, we're gonna sue you, we're gonna do this. Well, he gave Johnny Betts one little job for $1,000 in the village, and Johnny Betts screwed it up and got, well, I told you I was right. This went on for years. I was a new member of the board. I said, this is ridiculous. We've got to do something about it. That was when we drafted our first policy. There's a difference between a policy and an ordinance. Let's start with that. A policy is adopted by your local legislative body, which is this select board. They, right now, are engaging in a process that we never did. We just wrote the policies, discussed them as a board, and voted them in. They are not enforceable by fines or anything like that statutorily. If you want a conflict of interest policy that has teeth, you want to push it to be an ordinance. That is the only way the town has a right to vote on it, petition to get rid of it. But if town policy is written by members of the select board, Mark might go home and write a policy on how the highway department has to operate. He brings it to the board, just like Charlie is doing with this policy. I wrote the policy on rental fees for the Grange Hall, all by myself. Then I took it to my board and we discussed it. That's how it works. If somebody wanted to come from the public and weigh in on it, that's great. But if you guys want something with teeth for a conflict policy, you want to request it be in an ordinance form. Because a policy, the state statute, just, a policy does not get regulated by state statute. It suggests things. A policy is completely different than an ordinance. And policies are easily changed. When the board changes, they're doing it now. We had a policy on ATVs, then we decided to make it an ordinance. We had a policy on pit bulls at one point, then we decided to make it an ordinance. It's, you know, so the process is the process, and these guys are engaged in it with full transparency, constantly, whether you believe it or not. I am listening to a board working the way it is supposed to. And it's great that everybody's here to hear them work like they are supposed to. They're not cutting anybody out of the conversation. They could. Go to a J Select board meeting. The Morse brothers run it. You don't say anything. You just do what you're told. And that's how this town used to operate. So from when it used to be a 3-member board, it went to 5. And it's completely different today than it was when I was on the board years ago. And we didn't get any say in any of this. We sat and listened.
That's what state statute brought with this.
So, thank you, Tosca.
That's all I
don't
have
want to
to
cut you
say.
off, but, and just as a reminder, when folks are talking, like if folks could refrain from talking while other folks are talking, just out of respect and because it messes up the hearing online. Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, that's, I
Okay.
feel like everybody that's new, that I'm seeing a lot of new faces, and it's like, sometimes you just have to take a minute and watch how the processes work. Nobody's trying to hide anything. I just, and I get it, but it's.
It's the history of things that
So-
becomes an issue, with NGOs and a few other odds and ends.
All right, so once again, if we could refrain from like talking over each other and like, I don't want to be a jerk and say only talk when recognized, but again, like if we could please just do this and go around the room, that would be much appreciated.
I'm all set, thank you.
Thank you. Raphael,
He's gone.
he's gone? Okay.
Gone. He got a phone
We'll
call
say no
today.
comment from Raphael then, or pass. All right, Carrie.
Yeah, so, I mean, I haven't dug into this very much, but you know clearly, because I did email you a list of what I've seen that I was concerned with over violations historically that I had no clue about. And it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter if it's a policy, it just matters if you care about it. And it seems like what we have for a policy right now is pretty straightforward, simple. All of the town members could understand a single line. And I'm just looking into like one thing that was quite important, which was Article 4, number 3. I don't know what, or wait, whatever, 4, number 3, whatever you call it.
And can we just clarify, on the existing one or the proposed one?
Existing.
Okay.
Yeah, this is actually what our town has signed. You signed this.
Yeah.
In 2018. So should be responsible for following it, or at least disclosing when you don't, or if you accidentally don't. It's really just being clear with people when you make mistakes so that they trust that you're gonna be accountable. So number 13, I mean, last time we were in here for conflicts of interest, last board meeting, you said clearly that nothing was a conflict of interest because it didn't financially affect you. And this on number 13, it includes political, personal, business profit or advancements. It's not just financial, because it does, to me, matter. And so I see that you're redirecting it into like 2 or 3 different items on this new one that's just maybe a little bit more like inclusive, but more confusing, a lot more words. What are you required right now by the state of Vermont to rewrite this policy? Why are you officially rewriting it? And considering that we have a lot of conflicts going on right now that we're trying to get to the bottom of, what couldn't you hold off to even talk about this? Seems like this should be something after we go through some of our actual personal concerns with conflicts of interest.
Okay, so to answer your question, we don't actually have to have a policy. There's a policy that the state has written for us that includes conflict of interest stuff, so we could actually just vote to do away with our policy altogether and just follow that as our guide. So no, we're not forced to do anything. And again, as I said previously, this has been a topic of conversation, and my intent was to go through it and rewrite sections to make it more clear. And to beef it up, to add other sections around disclosure, recording, stuff like that. So as I said, that's the intent.
That what you referred to is explicitly included in Article 2 of the draft, word for word.
It's 2 and 3, like I get it. It's somewhere in there in some respect. Maybe.
Well, it's not somewhere. Daniel just pointed it out where, so.
Yeah, I see it in 2 different places instead of one line that's really clear and simple, like lay term.
It's in one line, in the new one and the old one.
It's not, the point isn't that, it's, if I'm allowed to talk to you again, it's that I have, something that last time I wanted to submit public record for this and add it to the agenda, you did it. I actually asked at the same exact time that I did before for this, but I didn't get anything back and you didn't submit it on the agenda. But it's 6 clear questions I have about violation of our actual policy that you signed. And so I wanted to address that prior to you going in and changing this when it's not legally required. And it seems more state-oriented than personal. And we're a small community. I'd like to understand things and not have it so overcomplicated. That's my choice, but maybe other people want it differently. I don't know. I just don't see the reason to change this except for clerical errors. Maybe like is doing the wrong role, remove roles if you have to, but like, why? If we're dealing with something firsthand that's directly related to this, why can't we curb it and like say it's okay for now? Because you signed that. You should maybe address the fact that you signed it and there are some violations that we want to talk about.
Great. If you have perceived violations of board members, you're welcome to bring that up and we can discuss it, Carrie. This doesn't preclude the ability of anybody to do that. And again, I go back, the intent in the revisions of it was to try to make it clearer, outline a more direct process, update it, beef up parts of
Wouldn't
it.
it be unethical to do that right now when there's, like, that's what I'm wondering.
It's a timing issue.
No.
And the main revision is adding this new disclosure requirement, which is what you were asking for last time.
And then the old one also predates the current Article 179, which was January of 2025. So our old policy was no longer compliant with the state standards. So this did, to my understanding, updated to that.
We know that's there. We just.
Well, no, the new thing.
Extra.
A new thing happened. So a new thing happened on January 1st.
You can always add more.
Yeah, that's what he
More
did.
than the state.
And that's what he did.
Not take things out.
He added more. I don't know that there's 38% more words than before. It's more, not less.
I really appreciated what we had. I actually liked going into it, realizing that it was trying to make our town a little bit more accountable than the state in a very chill, calm way. Whoever wrote it, I felt like that was
Everything
nice
to do with it.
and well done.
So as a comment, the vibe is off.
Well, like, yeah, why keep changing the vibe? And we're just trying to deal with a lot of issues right now and work through them and know that you actually want to work through them with us instead of throw so much at us that we have no resolution and we're always stressed. I'm just working through it a lot.
Well, I apologize for stress.
Well, it's a lot to
I
come
understand.
on board and try to actually research the facts.
So I understand like the vibe is not the way the vibe should be on the new one, but is there anything that is not articulated in this which was in the old one? So to restate it, is there anything missing from this new one which would allow for a greater ability for conflict of interest or?
Charlie, I haven't had a chance to go through it in detail. I literally have been trying to deal with other stuff with you.
Okay. We'll go back around, Cliff. Yeah.
So can I ask a question? So Carrie, you're asking that why is the policy that's written now should be left alone?
Yeah, just for a bit. Like, why just?
But you sent an email about wanting to update the policy.
I didn't say that. I said I did not. Please don't.
I'm not putting trouble. I'm
Thank you.
I'm asking. I'm asking.
No.
I'm asking. But the conflict of interest you're specific to, I'm just trying to understand, that's all. I'm not saying one way or another, I'm just
not
asking.
the same mistake.
So, you're advocating that the policy just stay the same and leave it alone, right? Charlie's making a recommendation, which we're talking about, not gonna vote on to initiate a policy. This is what public discussion is about, right? Some people wanna maybe see more, some people wanna say less. The state has their guidelines. We can't take away from the guidelines, but we can add it to our town. Okay, so that's what, I think maybe we're semantics here. What you're saying and what maybe Charlie's saying is we may be agreeing, but we gotta get to there, and that's what this public forum is for.
It's about the timing.
I can see that, but I'm just thinking that it's a discussion, and you brought up your concern about timing of it. Charlie's put effort and time to this. I'm reading this. Everybody else is reading this. So we're just trying to learn from this, and that's what it's all about. What I have a problem with is, everybody's got their perception as their reality, meaning that what you think that Charlie's done or what Daniel's done, I've done, is that your perception. So everybody has an opportunity to speak against that and to talk through it. So I just want to keep this going and a sense of normalcy of how do we proceed. That's what this is going to be about. So the timing of it you don't agree with, that's fine, but as everything changes in life, you gotta look at things differently, and we gotta kind of proceed forward with it. So this is what this discussion is about. That's how I'm looking at this, and I apologize, I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth where you're doing. It's a lot of information, and it's a lot of things going on. So I think that you have concerns, Josh has concerns, other people have concerns. I think that's amendable, and we can work through it, but we just gotta figure a way. But that's what this forum is for.
That's what I'm hoping the process can be a little bit more like paced at.
But I just want to make sure it's not accusatory of you're doing this because of this. So that's what I just want to kind of avoid, of like, there's a timing of it. And again, to go back to your perception is your reality. Everybody's perception is their reality. So I just want to make sure that it should be a discussion of like how to move forward as a small town. This isn't Burlington, this isn't Stowe, this is Montgomery. I don't know if I can point to you or not.
You know, I wasn't accused. I'm literally like listing things and I'd like to go over them with you. And then you jump into changing things when I'm not ready, I guess.
I'm not ready either. I'm still trying to read this.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. I am trying to read this. That's why, you look at the redaction of it and you go cross-eyed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand it. So, but that's what this forum is for. I don't know, you got a question?
No, I was just more like, yeah, I understand your perception is reality. I mean, in the old job I used to have, that was pretty good. But if you base it in facts, you look at the facts, and you have actual stuff in court documents that are available for court, then it's not
Yeah, and that's why the forum of like understanding of what everybody's perception is of the reality.
Difference with facts.
Yes.
You guys
I'm not
Okay.
I'm not arguing that.
If it was still my turn, can I just give these to him because they didn't make it into your agenda? You can do whatever you want with them, but at this point, I'm hoping that you actually do go over them publicly, but
Yeah.
that's the letter I wrote, and it's really in reference to the short-term ordinance petition special meeting, because we are not gonna have another select board meeting, right? It's scheduled the same day as the special meeting. The regular select board meeting is scheduled, it's that's the third Monday, which is the 17th. At 6 PM is the special meeting, and 6:30 is the select board meeting.
Voting, sorry.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know how, we're not gonna have another select board meeting to go over this and address it towards this short-term ordinance. I wanna have clarity before we go to that meeting that we have.
Just to be clear, until we adopt a new policy, the old policy is still in effect.
No, there's no, it's
So-
not it's public record that I want
Yeah.
you to address
Yeah.
prior to going there or deciding
Okay.
to vote or do anything else.
So I will right
Please
now.
do.
So in your request, it ended with my immediate request, and then you had 4 items. The first one was publicly disclose. This is directed at me. Publicly disclose whether you intend to advocate against the STR petition using your select board position or resources. My answer: I have no plans to advocate for a position on the STR ordinance one way or the other. Question: if so, recuse yourself from any official action on that petition as required by section 4B2, IV 4B2. Answer: again, I have no plans to advocate for a position on the STR ordinance one way or the other. Third question was, if you believe you can act fairly despite the appearance of conflict, state the rationale publicly as required by section 4C1. My answer to that is, I do not understand what the appearance of a conflict is that you references, and therefore I can't provide a rationale for why it does not exist. Broadly, I do not believe that a conflict or an appearance of conflict exists. Question 4, separately recuse yourself from any future votes or actions related to wastewater and streetscape projects, contracts, or financial approvals. So I have no intention of doing that. Your rationale for this conflict regarding the wastewater project seems to center on an award I received from the Vermont Council on Rural Development and past advocacy for the wastewater project itself. Publicly expressing a positive opinion for and or advocating for a public infrastructure project is not a conflict. Respectfully, I also find the assertion that my actions are motivated by awards and prizes and that they represent a personal stake in the process as to demonstrate a misunderstanding of what a conflict of interest is as defined in Act 171. Furthermore, you reference my work on the board of the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, of which I serve as vice president, not president, on the board of the Vermont Land Trust, which I have not served on since 2024, and the Working on Enterprise Board, of which I have not been a member since 2024. Can I finish responding, Carrie? That's what I'm trying to do. Thank you. As being conflicts with my role on the Select Board, I feel to understand how these current and prior roles present a conflict. Please see stated missions for these organizations below, which I will read. You also assert again that the award I received from VCRD presents a conflict of interest, which I fail to understand, unless the assertion being made is that everything I do is driven by ego and a desire to win prizes, which I find mildly offensive. The Vermont League of Cities and Towns. The Vermont League of Cities and Towns, VLCT, is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization founded in 1967 with the mission of serving and strengthening Vermont local government. The town of Vermont is a member of VLCT. VLCT provides educational workshops and consulting advice for municipal officials so they can deliver excellent service to their residents. It provides service to support of legislation that strengthens local government. It provides a comprehensive insurance coverage for municipalities, and it provides knowledgeable assistance, resources, and information on a wide range of municipal issues. The LCT believes in the critical role of local government plays in the lives of Vermonters, believes in municipal authority over municipal issues, believes in representative and participatory local government. It believes in the value of public service and excellence in municipal leadership. It believes in a commitment to honesty, integrity, and the highest ethical standards among public officials. It believes in the value of collaboration as a means of strengthening cities and towns, and it believes in the individuality of each local government. So, given that, I do not see how my participation on the board of the Vermont League of Cities and Towns presents a conflict of interest, either real or perceived. To the Vermont Land Trust. The Vermont Land Trust stated mission: working towards the common good of land as people always is not working towards the common good of land and people isn't always easy. Collaboration is essential to success as being deeply rooted in the communities that VLT serves. With expertise in conservation, ecology, community engagement, and finance, the Vermont Land Trust will conserve land of important economic, community, or environmental benefits by limiting development and ensuring sound land stewardship practices. Support farmers by buying land and growing sustainable businesses. It'll work to improve the health of land, water, and soil and share that knowledge with all others. It will work to ensure the permanent legal protections of over 2,200 parcels are upheld in partnership with landowners, and it'll work to connect all people to the outdoors through education and events. Again, I fail to see how my past work with the Vermont Land Trust presents a real or perceived conflict of interest to the matters being presented. Lastly, the Working Lands Enterprise Initiative. Formed by Act 142 of the Vermont Legislature in 2012, the Working Lands Enterprise Initiative makes strategic investments and develops policy recommendations to support a resilient and sustainable farm, food, and forest economy in Vermont. The chair of the board is the Secretary of the Agency of Agriculture, or its designee. The vice chair has historically been someone from the private sector. I filled that role as vice chair when I was a private consulting forester. That's the Vermont Working Lands Enterprise Initiative. Again, I fail to see how that entity or my work on their board presents a conflict of interest, real or perceived, to the issues that you raise. In addition, you assert that I am using my select board position to advance my broader political standing, given that I, quote, operate at a regional and state level. I fail to understand this assertion and would love to know what position or higher office you think I'm trying to attain through my work on this board. Since its founding in 2012, the Working Land Enterprise Initiative has invested over $19 million in 593 farm, food, and forest projects all across Vermont. If these responses fail to satisfy your inquiry, you're welcome to file a formal complaint with the town regarding whether perceived conflicts exist and or how I may be acting in violation of the conflict of interest policy. So you asked for my public response to those 4 questions. You have it in writing and stated.
Point of order.
Larry.
Yes, we've, most of this meeting is taken up by 2 board members defending themselves. Can we move on, please?
I'm happy to. She just asked me to respond publicly to the 4 points that she raised. I'm doing so at that request.
Am I allowed to reply?
You can reply, Carrie, but
There's so many good qualities of everything that you're part of, and like, by no means am I saying that you aren't completely an asset in so many ways. Super intelligent, super motivated, that's awesome. I think the issue is more that those organizations have statewide or regional scope, and serving in leadership positions means you participate in those matters beyond Montgomery. My issue was more using your select board position to advocate on contentious issues, which is the wastewater email. It advances your broader political standing, which is that's what we're not supposed to do in our town conflict of interest. I listed many more reasons why there were conflicts of interest, and you kind of didn't address the specific ones because you can't do it all. Like, there's a lot. But I'm not expecting you to officially say something horrible. It would just really be nice to hear you admit something. That, our concerns. Like, I could see how you could understand that maybe.
Please.
I could see how that could relate instead of some official, like,
Oh my God.
literally, I'm digging into tons of things, and there's a lot on a state scope that you're in leadership positions for. So I don't know what you're trying to do in the future, but I do think that wastewater email flared me. And I had no idea about it at all, but that's a complete violation of open meeting laws, along with 6 of our policies locally that you signed, which there's no accountability to that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
So
And I don't even want you to be fully accountable. I just want to hear you admit it. It's
So-
really not a big deal.
yeah, so I'll say that email has been come up and addressed by the board at least 2 different meetings in the past. If there's anything I can admit around that, is that I broke a cardinal rule in sending that, in that I should never draft an email when I am royally pissed and send it. I did that time, and I shouldn't have.
You violated.
We're gonna keep going around, unless, Carrie, if you have one more final comment.
That's the only regret you have, because it wasn't sent to the entire town, it was selective,
77 people.
and you had a board quorum. In
There was
addition, you had
not
a
a board.
response stating 3 different ethical violations that you had in our town policy.
Better check the BCC.
I just found that on public record. I'm just saying, there's more to regret from that than just being pissed off. A lot more, and it actually makes me feel like no matter what, you're capable of using town resources to rally against any petitioner.
Okay, so let me just address
That's
that
what
real
I'm worried
quick.
about.
What you're pointing out
That's
to is the
valid.
perception of town resources. Select board emails are all free Gmail accounts that we create to better manage emails related to town business. They're not on the town server. The town does not pay for them. They are not town resources. I do understand that there's a perception of that. And if the answer to that is using my personal email to send that, I very well could have. But the problem is, I think, the perception that the chairman of the select board is saying something. So if I use my personal email versus the town one, I have a hard time seeing anybody getting that and thinking, oh, I forgot Charlie's on the select board.
It
So
says select board in your email.
How come I didn't get
it
that
does,
email?
but it's not
I know,
a
how come I
public,
didn't get
it's
it?
not a public
Why did I get
resource.
that email?
You know my
I
email
don't think I
very
knew
well.
you at that point, to be honest.
You know my email very well. How come I
You
didn't
have
get
a
it?
list of voters.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You just pick the
Oh,
77
I agree with
versus
him.
the
I,
whole.
yes.
Took him to court on that.
It's
but
okay, I
lost
didn't,
interest.
I remember, Chris. I remember that meeting because I think you did threaten to sue me.
Public information.
I mean, just finding it out as a
That's
petitioner
not
makes me
neutral.
like have no faith in the process, that's all. And it's
Okay.
valid that just coming onto it after the fact and not really having known any of that. Or as a petitioner, you disclosing that you have done this before, potentially like propagating against a petitioner. Like what you said in that email was pretty horrible towards a petitioner, and I hear it from Carol. People come in and she's like, I am ashamed of the petitioner for even doing this because
Florida's
of all of
Okay,
the
we're
town
gonna-
hours that have gone into it. It doesn't invalidate the petition. And it's been at other special meetings, and it's discouraging for really kind people to show up to those and hear that.
Okay.
It should be moderated, like just to be respectful of the petitioner. And that makes me worried about the whole process, and if you're not doing it from a select board official email, how else you're doing it. And so I'm worried about it's like I don't even wanna go to it, and you're just gonna pass it through anyway and you get what you want. Because I don't wanna fight. I literally think it's a horrible process that I got into and I had no clue about. And I've been notified by other people that they were frustrated, and then I got into this stuff even further.
Great.
And I'm like, this is more frustrating.
There will be a moderator there, Jacob.
No,
I
this,
mean,
but I mean,
at
it's
that
like
meeting.
even these meetings. I mean, there's certain things that we
There
should
was-
just respect petitioners, because that you make it a legal process.
Okay, so I will add, since you asked, I do have one other regret to that. And that is that I did hear from people after sending it that it gave an impression that I did not respect the individuals who signed the petition. And that is a regret, because my intent was not to downplay the ability of people in town to petition their government for something.
But it was,
Damage is done.
yeah.
Great, but you asked what a regret
Thank you
was,
for admitting
and that's a regret, is that I had no intention of creating a perception that I did not respect the ability of people to petition their government, which I definitely do.
How do we know that isn't gonna continue to happen?
All right, we're gonna move on. Josh, you're up.
I'm just wondering why we didn't take the old policy and do what we're doing now and try to adjust the policy forward instead of have you rewrite the whole policy. Just go
Yeah.
argue over it. Why don't we just collectively?
We could just get rid of the whole policy and just go by the state standards.
I'm just curious why
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
can
adjust it.
cut and paste it too.
Hey, everybody, it's Josh speaking. Everyone, please.
Yeah.
I'm not against anybody adjusting it, but I'm wondering why we didn't take the old policy and adjust it as a room together. As
So, yeah.
opposed to you taking it upon yourself and doing it.
Yeah, so my answer
That's
would have
what
been
we're doing
that
right now.
to edit a document like that by committee in a room like this would have taken us weeks. And so I took a stab at drafting a first draft to bring to the board for comment. And that was my intent, was to kind of expedite the situation. I would have respected any other member to bring that. Or if someone from the community said, hey, I got a new draft of this I'd love you guys to look at,
Yeah.
I'd be happy to do that too. So it was not to cut anybody out or to do it in a back room somewhere. My intent was to do it in a way that met the public meeting laws and expedited the conversation that we're having. So I
Exactly
apologize.
what Mark said, though. I don't like that they took the transparency out of the last page. They do not, you don't wanna, it says it's supposed to be posted in 3 conspicuous places in town for a period of 1 month. You strike that right out. That's taking out the transparency.
Okay, and like, I
We could
think,
put
as
that-
Mark brought up, we'll,
I'm just bringing
We
up
can
my
put that back.
yep.
Are you still open to,
Carrie, it's Josh Stern. Josh? keep going.
And I referenced the places in the municipality where the full text being examined shall be posted. Also, I don't like the backstroke struck out either, because we should be able to see the policy. This is about transparency. I mean, I'm not gonna argue about inside the policy, I ain't got time to do that right now, but the last page really irks me, because it's taking the transparency out of the.
Yep, heard. And so we will go back to make sure that the posting requirements and notice requirements address the concerns that multiple folks have brought up. So I appreciate that, Josh.
Are you still open?
Anything else, Josh? Okay, Amy.
Mine is related to, bottom of page 4 and hiring of,
Just to be clear, is this on the new draft or the old policy?
I think it's a new draft because it's blocked out. Page 4, number 10, support employment of the best qualified people.
This is a lined out one, Charlie.
Oh, yeah. So that took the stuff in green and moved it up. There's a couple things there that we can certainly add back in, but there was an eye to this in terms of we have equal opportunity laws that we follow, and the desire to hire the best qualified people isn't really something that's related to a conflict of interest.
Well, it is, I want to read this letter.
Okay, that's fine, but that was the explanation of why that one was removed due to updated other stuff, but we can certainly add that back if folks want to. But go ahead, Amy.
Since 2 of the select board members have violated this individual's privacy rights, I am going to tell you the truth about what happened. On May 22nd, 2025, the town posted a job listing for the town garage. On May 22nd, 2025, this individual gave Mark his resume. Mark talked to this individual about the job and the requirements to do the job. This individual had obtained a physical and was ready to go to work. This individual would stop down at the town garage every 1 to 2 weeks to check on the status of the job. Mark's response was that they were waiting for the budget to kick in for the new year. This excuse went on for about a month. For the next 2.5 months, Mark kept saying the town was saving money by not hiring anyone to fill the job until the fall. At the same time, Mark was whining to the town at the select board meetings that they didn't have another employee. They were down an employee. Yet for 2.5 months, Charlie was running around town discussing this individual with his cohorts. Lo and behold, the 3rd week of August, they had another applicant apply. This was all for show and tell. Charlie has never sat in on a town garage hire until this individual applied for the job.
That's incorrect.
Charlie and Mark made sure that they were gonna shove this up at this individual's ass. The individual was highly qualified for this position, as he has 20 years' experience of operating a road grader. Charlie and Mark knew from the beginning they were not going to hire this individual. But as slimy as this process was, it only gets slimier from here. This individual went to P.E.G and dropped off the resume. Again, this individual stopped up every few weeks to check on the job status. They kept blowing this individual off just like Charlie and Mark had. P.E.G would not hire this individual either, thanks to Charlie. What does this say about the select board member's character? It says a lot. I know people up there. To prevent this individual from obtaining employment to take care of their family, this individual is my son. The corruption and collusion involved in this town must stop. These are criminal offenses. The only way to end this for these individuals is to resign. Pack your shit and get. And all of your cohorts can pack your shit and get too. Again, I will face the wrath of being targeted, harassed, slandered, and retaliated against for using my First Amendment right of freedom of speech. And I have been harassed for many years because I spoke the truth. I'm gonna give this to Dennis because I don't trust any of you.
Or anybody on the email list.
There's some more information in there, but I can't give it all to you. I have too much ammunition. Have a good night.
Okay.
So that's why that should be in there still, I guess.
So I just want to point out for the record that I volunteer as a host at JPEG.
Ambassador.
They don't, we have ambassador or host,
Yeah.
depending on the title and the year. Carrie, they change it year to year. I'm not trying to hide anything. They call us hosts, greeters, ambassadors, whatever the heck you want to call it.
I don't know anything.
It's a volunteer position and they don't run hiring decisions by me. So I don't know how that has any basis here. Brad.
I'm good.
All right, thanks, Brad. Sarita, you're good? All right. Anita.
What's your son's name?
Larry.
Charles.
Amy.
Larry.
I say Charles because I don't want anybody to think we're friends.
Ah.
Just that we agree to disagree.
Okay.
Should a new policy go through, does that grandfather clause, everything other select board members and yourself may have done in the past?
Say that again?
You mean like, would an action, so assuming there's something that isn't covered in the new policy that was in the old policy, and someone did something, would the old policy be in effect to that? Or would the, what's being grandfathered, I guess is the
Getting
question.
away with most anything you want to do.
Okay,
That's what I'm asking. Would anything be retroactive to something you did 2 years ago?
the old policy or the new
New
policy?
policy.
I mean, legally, I don't have an answer to that. The intent is that both policies reflect the same stuff. The new one has some added stuff. So I guess I would say that, like, if we didn't record stuff properly per the new ordinance requirements, or the disclosures weren't made, you couldn't hold that against a past action.
Okay. And as far as making this an ordinance, like Tosca said, I don't see any reason to do that. We don't do anything about the ordinances we got all over the anyways.
Yeah.
Nothing is done about any of the ordinances we have. We should take our list of ordinances and delete them all.
Yeah.
Because nobody does anything about it.
Oh, then there's no big deal, let's all go home.
That's our disagreement for tonight.
Okay.
Very sure there's disagreements in that email.
All right, Peter.
First of all, regarding conflict of interest, I brought it up years ago with Leanne in the wastewater. It was a very obvious conflict of interest. It didn't apply because the town didn't have a policy yet. They were on the cusp of being required to draft one.
Well, just to be clear, we did have a policy.
Yeah, we did.
The policy's been in effect since 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. It was said that she had no conflict of interest voting on the wastewater project, although it very clearly financially benefited her son, would have benefited her son. She, and you stated that there was no conflict. She graciously recused herself after the fact, after the votes had gone through, but nonetheless, she did what she felt was the right thing.
Yep.
And I have to say, I appreciate Dan doing the right thing until it's fleshed out. Myself also. It's the right thing to do. Regarding code of conduct, Tosca's right. If it has no teeth, what's the point of its existence? It's a guidance more than anything else. It would be more appropriate to make it an ordinance if it was something that voting population could chime in on. But my fear would be that you would have a difficult time filling the board.
Here it is.
By ordinance. So, I think this conversation is going in the right direction, I really do. But it needs to come to resolution because, as Terry points out, there are some very contentious subjects on the board right now. And we need the assurance and trust of the board that they will act with good conduct and ethics. And that's just my statement.
Great, appreciate it, Peter. Thank you. Lynn?
I just think that, you know, we always say, can we all just be kind to one another? And we all live in this community and, you know, I just feel as though we've got so much on our plate. When I say us, I mean with everything going on in the town, the roads, the wastewater, the this, the that. Why, at this point, can we just take a step back and breathe?
Yep.
Okay? And can we just say, your intention is well based or deserved or whatever, but can we just keep what we have and not add another thing to our plate? Because it seems as though we don't need any more to have us banging our heads against each other. And I just think we should all get along, because it's a crazy world. And it's not bringing us together as a community. It's tearing us apart as a community. So if we don't add another thing to the pile, maybe things will be a little bit calmer and gentler. And that's just my thought. Why now? Why bring it up? Because of the situation with Daniel and whatever? Can we just take a step back and maybe look at it next year? Maybe look at it when we check off a few of the boxes that we need to check off? And can we just all be kind to one another? That's what I have to say.
That should go on TV.
Oh, it should.
Well said.
Well said.
Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. Benjamin? You good? Christina?
I'm just here to absorb it all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don?
Same.
All right. Chris?
I'm good.
Okay. Teresa?
Come on.
Yeah, I do, Charlie. I got a question for you. Okay?
Oh, God.
You said, I can stand up for this, since he likes to put me on Facebook anyway.
Who does?
That guy.
Oh, I thought you meant me. I was like, I've been off
Not you.
Facebook for years.
I didn't point at him, I didn't point at you. I was on Facebook a couple weeks ago and everybody said, oh, you're a star. And I'm like, from what? You just cut out a little thing what I said.
Hey man, I didn't do nothing. That's not my department. I'm not supposed to say anything, I'm just recording what you say.
He saw the whole thing, he wasn't even there.
Yeah, he was. Okay, I'm sorry. I made everybody laugh though, didn't I? Okay, but Charlie, you said something that I have a question from. You sent that email out because you were mad. Why were you mad? Why did you send it to 77 people the night before? And we worked real hard for a whole year. And then you put in that email that the guy up on the road from me wrote the petition, which was a lie. We all got together as a group and hired a lawyer from Burlington because he knew the Vermont laws. Mike doesn't know the Vermont laws. He knows the Massachusetts laws. And you put that in there.
You know the Massachusetts people.
Yeah.
So, I'm close with Mike, so it really kind of upsets me.
No, I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
I want to know why you were mad, because you won. You know, we lost our fight for a year. All the things that you did to us, Tosca, hush. Hush, hush.
I won too. I disagree with you.
I have to get this off my chest. I got it off last year. I felt good after I talked to Charlie about the 4 things he did, but I just want to know. He brought it up. Okay, he brought it up. He said he was mad.
Yeah.
And I want to know why you were mad. That's
Yeah.
an honest question.
So I will just say, Larry did point out to me right after sending that email my mistake in the drafting and who drafted it, and I'll admit that mistake. I was under the impression that it was drafted by that individual because at the hearing, when the lead petitioner, who is usually the drafter, has the first opportunity to comment, Mike was the one that stood up to speak, and my impression from there is a wrong one, but I was under the impression that he was the one that drafted it, so I apologize for that mistake.
But he was
As far
he's a
as-
better talker than I was then.
Understood. And I have nothing against Mike.
Taxpayer now.
You're asking why I was mad?
Yeah.
I was mad for a number of reasons. I was mad because I was being dragged all across social media with information and things that were factually inaccurate. I was mad because anonymous YouTube accounts were popping up with
Well, that was my
Can-
That was his
account.
YouTube.
And I posted that video from select board minutes only, and for minutes of meetings only. That video was only for minutes,
So-
the truth. And I have other ones.
Chris, thank
But
you.
I say-
She asked me why I was
Okay,
mad.
okay,
Can I just
okay.
respond?
But I
So
just
at the
wanna let
time, the YouTube account did not have a name attached with it, and this is my perspective. The videos that were posted there were heavily edited videos from meetings that were completely out of context to what was being talked about. That made me mad. I was mad because at that time, completely anonymous mailers had gone out to the community that had no indication of who paid for them, who sent them, what they were from. Nothing on that email, nothing on that mailer indicated who sent it, who paid for it, who was behind it, and there was information on that postcard. I'm not saying it was intentional, but was factually completely inaccurate that went out. I was mad for those reasons. There are a couple other reasons I was really mad that I don't want to get into right here because it involves other people that I do not want to bring this kind of stuff back up because at this point it's water under the bridge to me, so I don't want to go there. But I had a number of reasons why I was mad. That's the answer.
The things that we collected money and had people draw up them things, and they were facts, weren't they? Peter was in on it. There was about 5 of us. We all read them. We raised the money. We didn't put our name on it. Maybe we should have, but we owned up to it. Every meeting we went, we said we sent the flyers out. So
That's fine. I'm just saying when I received it in the mail, there was no name on it, no attestation of who sent it, who paid for it.
half the things we get sent out anyway because the person that
Understood.
was supposed to send them different places that shouldn't even had them. But
Just
anyway,
addressing your question.
okay. But thank you.
Thank you.
And Dan, thank you for being that way that you did. Takes a man to do that. Okay, so I want to appreciate you for that. Just like I did with Leanne, when I asked Leanne to step away from it, she did it too, so. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Teresa. All right, last up, Mary Beth.
Brandon, Daniel, I don't know you at all, but I do want to thank you for your statement earlier, that you would look into it. And I don't want any responses, interesting responses. So I want to thank you for that. I do have a concern that being on the select board requires you, anybody, but to seek personal legal advice about something like that. We're going to continue to limit the pool of people who want to serve on the select board because it will cost too much money. So that's one thing that I personally worry about. And it's disappointing to be at a meeting that feels like middle school. Feels like there's no community here. I've not lived here very long, 6 years. And I'm disappointed that this meeting has gone as it has. And I'm not saying the select board, you say everybody in the room. I just don't feel a reason to come back. It's such a sad place to be. In this beautiful town of Montgomery, that we treat each other. I know it's complex, and kindness is not complex. Kindness is not complex.
Suicide.
Thanks, Mary Beth. All right.
Don't forget Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Anybody on Zoom want to talk? Brent, Roberta, Gabby. I guess Gabby.
I just want to say thank you guys for tolerating this meeting and allowing people to speak and have conversations, and disagreement is no big deal. Like, it's the norm. I didn't hear the person's name who spoke last, but yeah, like, doesn't need to be like a huge issue. I email Charlie on a regular basis saying, I don't agree with you. And it's no big deal. So I don't know.
Thanks, Gabby. Brent? Still awake, Brent? Roberta? Anything, Roberta?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, thanks. Once again, Michael Miller. Oh, hi, Brent. Any comment?
Well, it's technology. I was trying to unmute my microphone. You would think I would know how to do that.
So, no, I have no more comments. I think more than enough has been said. Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Michael Miller? iPhone?
On that one.
All right. So I think we've got, oh, sorry, Carol, you passed, so
I did.
back to Carol, all right.
Thank you. I just wanted to say two things. One was, I think Daniel talked earlier about recusal. Shows what I understand and expect any one of the people on the select board would respond the same way. We've elected these people to serve our town, and I think they do a great job. And I do trust all of them to work to the best of their ability for our town. I think some of the comments tonight, you would think that the board was trying to squash a conflict of interest policy. That they walked in and said, okay, we're not gonna do this anymore. We don't want one of these anymore. Forget it. The fact that it's being brought up just to make revisions, to bring it current, maybe more readable, whatever. I think it's part of what the job entails. It's part of what they have to do to stay up with state statute and to try to stay up with what's feasible for our community. The other thing I would say is that if somebody to attack a select board member for having an opinion about a public works project is totally incorrect. We elect the select board members to have opinions about what's needed in our community. And if they believe we need a wastewater system, they tell us about it. Certainly they're gonna vote whichever way. They may not all agree, but they all have a vote, and then we all have a vote. So nobody can be attacked for having an opinion about a process that's taking place to the betterment of our town. And appreciate you listening to us.
Thanks, Carol. Pat, did you wanna, yeah?
Just a brief comment, if I may. You guys continually amaze me with your patience and your transparency and your efforts to do what you think is the right thing, in spite of others that may disagree with you. You let them have their say, even though it makes the meeting run on and on and on. But yeah, you continually amaze me as how well you're doing. You do a great job.
Thanks, Pat. And Laura, you passed on the initial round, so
I'm good.
You're good? All right. Raphael also passed, but I think he is out the door, so. All right.
Chris
So,
pass?
yeah.
I said something
I think-
earlier.
oh, okay, yeah.
The only thing I could add is, working in a school district, somebody shared with me, they don't ever use their personal device because if there was an issue and it was being like investigated, that device would be taken by the investigation and held until it was all complete. Also, any select board communication on a public email, I think that might be a concern as well. And that's just
Yeah.
food for thought for you guys, nothing.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why we started to create our own individual emails was to keep everything town related separate. And so that's why really anything related to town, at least personally, I send from that email. And the bottom of those emails all do say something to the effect of, this is a public record. So if you say something or I say something, understand that someone can FOIA it and, so. All right, so we have some thoughts around the on the policy. I think we can kind of go back to the drawing board and think about this some more. There's no rush on this. Again, it was an attempt to try to add clarity to something that I thought needed clarity, but this is not an immediate concern, so we can carry this forward. Any closing thoughts from board members on this before we move on?
I'd just ask anyone who had concerns with the conflict of interest policy if you can enumerate them and just shoot them in an email. So if there are issues beyond what we discussed today, or you have the time to go through it, and there are additional things that crop up, just shoot us an email so that the board has a time to propose a different draft and then have that submitted for public review as well.
Next year? No.
All right, Tosca, do you want to do your thing so you can leave?
Well, past my bedtime, kid, I love it.
So Tosca, you have brought in front of us quotes for the.
Just the floor, just so the Schwanky grant, it's called the Schwanky grant, I know that. I have two estimates, one from Lefty Construction and one from Edward Mason. Lefty comes in at 13.5, Mason comes in at 10.8. This is to install tile in the basement of the Grange. I will say that Mason's includes $2,000 or so of free work, and so he's, you know, it's not articulated in there, but, you know, it's basically the lay tile in the Grange Hall basement. And personally, I would go with the lower bid, but I feel like either one could do the job efficiently. I'm learning how to lay tile. There's some people that are gonna volunteer to help clean up and do that, after you put the grout in, that part where you clean. I'll be doing that, so that's gonna reduce the labor cost, which is why his is so much lower.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Lefty's is lower because.
No.
No.
Mason's lower than Lefty.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's like, you know, 50s, like gangsta gang. Anyway, I feel like I need a motion to accept the bid from Mason.
Okay, can I just ask a quick question or quick request? If folks want to talk, please you can go outside and do it, just because again, it's hard to hear with other things happening. So Tosca's presented two quotes for the work. Where is the total?
You said there's a grant.
Second page.
You said there's a grant.
So we got $7,500.
Does that $7,500
from the Vermont Preservation Trust Foundation. They always give out 50-50 grants. So the scope of the work is the floor and the plumbing for this grant. The plumbing, I'm waiting on an estimate. Should come in under 5. We're thinking between 3,000 and 4,000. The 10 grand, I would put it about 15K. So the 7,500 will cover half of that. Heartful Kitchen's gonna be throwing in about 2,000 or 3,000 toward the plumbing, which almost might cover the whole plumbing. And then the town hall fund will pick up the rest,
Okay.
which we should have in our budget.
So you have a budget to complete the project with the grant, Hartwell Kitchen, and the town hall funds.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the only, I'm all fine for voting on this, but the only thing I would ask for is whether it's you typing up and putting the grant in there.
The grant was awarded to the town of Montgomery.
Yeah.
Because the.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is that for this 13.5, I'm just saying that I think there should be an indication that there's.
No, the 13.5 is 13.5. It's the Mason bid, the lower bid at 10.
Yeah. No, I'm not articulating very well. What I'm saying is that you're saying that they're gonna donate $7,500, correct?
The grant.
The grant.
Yeah.
So that 10.8 plus the plumbing, let's call it 15.
That's what I told them.
But, right, so what I'm saying is that we're actually, we're approving 10.5, but $7,500 is not coming out of I'm saying is that you should submit something that says.
How much
You have the grant documentation.
I understand that.
The award letter.
Yeah, right.
Which says what we need to do to get the award. So
I guess how much are you asking for, like, from the balance, from the town hall balance? or
we're
the
asking
reserve
for
fund?
you to approve. So until you choose a contractor, we're not gonna get the award. I need this
We wanna
to
wait
send
for,
to
like, all
the
the
Preservation Trust people
folks
to
together
release that
in the
money.
year.
Right.
So Aaron would take this invoice and we would send it to
And we
Frankie and then Preservation Trust, and they will pay $7,500 of it.
Wait, when you said, so does the town have, I don't have the Schwanky grant in front of me.
Would be something.
Yeah, you
To go
have
into
copies of it
executive
from,
session.
you
That's
should.
what I'm asking. So I'm saying, when we do this, I just wanna make sure that there's an understanding that though we're approving whatever the dollar amount is,
Yeah.
it's not really that dollar amount. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Where you can
You're
share.
approving to be paid for with a combination of town funds and grant funds.
That's how that would be.
That's probably how you'd word that,
Yeah.
that motion.
Sorry, there was a procedural question that we needed to figure out. I apologize. Because
So the motion-
it impacted the way that this is gonna go. So Dennis, is your concern that, is your concern that you want the quotes reformatted to reflect the full budget with the grant to know?
Well, the quote, I'm not asking Edward Mason to redo his quote, because he has no idea, or whether he does or not is irrelevant. My point is I just wanna make sure from a public standpoint is that we're voting on 10,008, but that's not the real number.
Gotcha.
That's all, it's just being above reproach, full disclosure of just
Understand.
being, that's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
So can I suggest the motion to be made would be that the $10,300 is being paid from $7,500 in grant funds, and the remainder to be paid for by the town hall fund and Heartful Kitchen. That would be the motion, so that your grant fund is $7,500.
So I think technically what we need to do is our action is authorizing the expenditure from the town hall fund. And so we would need to know what that number is exactly. So if you have a solid number
Well, it's
from
gonna be.
Heartful Kitchens and everything else, we could
No,
do
because we
that.
were gonna use Heartful for the plumbing end of this, because it's more directly related to what we do. So we figured we'd throw some money at the plumbing piece to offset costs. So I would say, 10,800 minus 7,500, so you're looking for whatever that number is from the town hall fund.
And the town hall fund for town meeting time was $6,708.
Yeah,
At town meeting time. This is from the town report.
right, and since then, we've gotten our $10,000, beginning of July, the new fiscal year, correct?
And there's also revenue from,
And there's revenue from rental and
Okay,
fundraising
yeah.
and all
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
I'm not concerned about the town hall fund. We've been able to manage between $5,000 and $12,000 a year in excess expenses, unexpected elevator repairs, you name it. I'm not sure, I feel like the lots we paid for out of capital improvement, I could be wrong, but I'm still not concerned.
I guess
So what's 10,800 minus 7,500?
$3,300.
That's what we're.
My question is are we writing a check to this guy for 10,008 and then getting back $7,500 based off the grant? Or are we getting the grant and then cutting him a check for 33?
I'm gonna talk to Nicole and see, once she gets this, well, if you read what the order it goes in, it describes what she needs before the award will be released. So basically, she needs sign and return the W-9, retain the requirement to the grant.
You had a question?
I was just wanting to understand if you were trying to clarify, you want a list of, okay, the grant's gonna be this much, we're gonna pay this much, Hartford's gonna pay this much. That's what I was asking. Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, I'm asking.
You need numbers on a piece of paper before you sign anything.
It's more just the understanding as we talk about, transparent. I just want to make sure that, are we writing a check for $10,800 and they're getting a check back for 75?
I'm gonna read it to you right now, so this is the pertinent thing. Receipt of grant funds. Release of the grant funds will be made once the following materials are received and approved. Signed copy of the grant agreement, which we sent. Proposed work plan, including materials, methods of restoration, preservation, and selected contractors. So until we select a contractor, we're not gonna get the money. So this is the first step. We could just make a motion to select Mason as the contractor to do the floor.
I'm just
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
details
I'm
of
just kind of
financial.
Yeah, so I think the first answer to the question is, I think once we submit this, they're gonna release the funds, so we should have the funds in hand
Before we have to pay.
pay him. So we would still only be authorizing the expenditure of X from the town hall reserve. So the action for the board would be to authorize the expenditure of X from the town hall reserves to go towards the Montgomery Grange basement flooring project. So that, I think that would be the motion, would be to authorize the expenditure of X from the town hall reserve to go towards the Montgomery Grange basement flooring project. The board could adopt a quote and say, we move to adopt the quote from party A and authorize the expenditure of X.
I think we have to do that, because then you can send the quote in.
Yeah, I mean, if
we have to accept
we could, like, if we wanted to just authorize the expenditure and leave it up to the town hall committee to select the contractor, we could do that too. I'm just saying that the main action for the board would be to authorize the expenditure, but we can also authorize the adoption of the quote and the expenditure.
I apologize if I made this complicated.
No. I think your point's a good one to understand the dynamics of the money flow. It's a good point.
And all grants are different, and so I wanted to familiar, that I knew there was what they needed before those monies could be released was pretty specific, but also pretty easy in this case. This is a really simple award compared to some grants. This is like, they require very little.
So I guess my question would be, do board members feel that you have enough information to act on this? Or is there anything else that wants to be discussed around this? It is entering into a contract for services with somebody.
Well, I guess I would have a procedural question on that, but that requires executive session.
Yeah, so because this is entering into, I don't have the executive session statute pull up, I can. The executive session allows the board to go into executive session to discuss entering into a contract with somebody, because the discussions around that have to do with essentially the idea that prior public knowledge of the discussion would put the town at a disadvantage as it relates to the contractual obligations and costs. I can pull the statute up if we want to cite it directly, but if we wanted to discuss something related to this, which is proprietary, private, or material that would put us at a disadvantage because we would be talking about something that would have an impact on the ability of a contractor to put a bid together, we can do that.
I'm also okay if you want to table this to your next meeting.
I got the answer that I needed. I just wanted to make sure from a financial standpoint that the number is that this, what God forbid if they pull this, we're approving a expenditure. That's all I wanted to make sure that I had documentation. That's all. That's it. I don't think you need to go to an executive.
Well, I'll make a motion to table it then, because that'll give me time to look into what I was hoping to look into.
Okay, so we've got a motion to table this until a subsequent meeting to address some other stuff that the board member wants to look into. If we want to reformat stuff to reflect something, you can do that. But we have a motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion? Do you have a question,
I
Tosca?
have one more question. Can I be a part of that executive session, or is there something that?
No, the board can invite anybody into an executive session that we want to.
I mean, if it's germane to.
Yeah, I don't think there's an executive session. I think it's just being tabled till next time.
Okay, but if we did have one.
Well, if you have concerns, because I can, whatever, I understand.
Yep. Okay.
When somebody offers you free work, you definitely want to.
Yeah.
Did we pick a contractor?
No, so we are tabling this, action.
For a while.
Yep, okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks. It's already 9 o'clock. Do you guys want to do the budget review, or do you want to table that?
Yeah, we can.
I mean, I mean, we can go through detail. The quick and dirty is that we're $6,000 positive coming out of the year, and with an action that Aaron and I are recommending, we could
we need to finish the tabling.
Do we have to
Oh,
vote
I'm
on
so
it?
sorry.
have to vote on
We had a
it.
motion made and seconded to
Yeah.
table. Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
If there's no discussion, all those in favor of tabling the issue, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? We will table this to a subsequent meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you want to do the budget review now, or do you want to pick this up? We can do it now. I'm just noting that it's already almost 9.
Yeah.
I'm fine with whatever everybody wants to do.
Okay, all right, so, the punchline, we can go into detail, but I want to start at the end. The difference between revenue and expenses nets out to be about a $6,000 positive. So we came out of the fiscal year $6,000 positive against the budget. There's some detail in here that we can go over to explain another article that we want to address that could actually make that a difference of $23,000. But to go through this kind of line by line, you'll see property taxes came in about $44,000 less. There's a difference in the expense side of this, which Aaron notes, and that's because the delinquent tax expense covers the school amount due. So if you're doing a revenue versus expense comparison, the 44,000 is not going to line up, and that's just due to the note here that Aaron had made. But we were about 44,000 short in property taxes. Delinquent taxes came in about 13,000 or 14,000 lower. I will say, since we're talking about this, that we owe CAT a lot of credit. The delinquent tax balance as of December 31st, 2025 was $260,705. The delinquent tax balance we're carrying right now, or as of June 30th, 2026, is $70,578. So CAT has collected a little shy of $200,000 in delinquent taxes. So kudos to CAT. Moving down, things to draw your attention to, the federal excise tax refund highway. So Aaron's note here carried over to FY27. So the FY27 budget includes 2 payments to this, so it'll be $6,000. They just didn't pay us during that fiscal year. We have no control over that.
Yeah.
Moving down, you've got grant revenue notes around the paving, the hazard mitigation plan, the bylaw modernization grant. Other than that, we're pretty much in the green. Yeah, so total revenue, $130,816. I'm just trying to remember what my note here means. Okay. I wrote these notes at like 10 a.m. this morning, and now I'm trying to remember what I meant by them. Budget for grant revenue, balances on expense side. I don't know what that note means. Town office payroll, that's in the positive because Genevieve didn't start until January. Town office expenses, so the main reason this is over budget here is because postage went up.
Yeah.
And we mail a lot of stuff, and postage increased dramatically. Planning commission, that's over budget, but it's offset by grant income. General government expenses. This is something that I do want to draw folks' attention to because there's an action that we might want to take to help this, which will also put the net positive even higher. So this is over because we are now doing a single audit. A single audit is different from a standard audit in that it is much more detailed, and it's required when a town hits a certain point of grant revenue. And because Montgomery over the past 2+ years has received over the cap of grant revenue that pushes us into having to have a single audit, we've had to have one. This added, let's see, about $17,000 to general government expenses. There's other stuff that goes into this, which also feed into the overage you're seeing here. A lot of that was due to insurance and workman's comp being up to 10,729, as she notes. We also had changes in the server and tech stuff. This was related to tech support with the COTS system. This has all been updated for FY27, so this won't happen again, but those overages are reflected in general government expenses. So the audit being over budget did put us quite a bit over. The recommendation there is that we take the money that accounted for the single audit and we take it out of the wastewater reserve, because a lot of what put us, we get a lot of grants for a number of things, but a lot of what put us over the grant revenue cap for a single audit was because of the reimbursements that we're getting to pay for all the wastewater system work. So if we say that basically the single audit was accountable because of that, the recommendation would be to take the difference out of the wastewater reserve so it's not reflected on the municipal budget. We're going to circle back to that at the end. Highway payroll, that's over budget simply because of the budgeted insurance related to the employees. We had some employee changes. It just happened. We can't hire or not hire someone based on what kind of health insurance plan they're going to have. Legally, we can't ask people that. So the insurance is what's up there. Projects and events. A lot of that was from paving. It was offset by grant revenue. Machinery and fuel. Fuel prices were up, which is primarily why the fuel overage shows up there. Buildings and grounds, that small amount is reflected on the health insurance increase. 5% of highway payroll goes to buildings and grounds because they often are the ones that will do stuff related to buildings and grounds when we have an issue like that. Public works building, the majority of that was from heat. So out of that 5,000, 3,200 is related to increases in heat. Public safety building, this is something that we need to discuss.
This is where we pay for cleaning?
Yeah. So $6,000 of that was something that should have been reported in FY25, but it was not reported in FY25, and a lot of timesheets got dropped on us in FY26.
Yeah.
And so all of that just rolled in and showed up on our budget. We are working with the individual who does this to talk about better time management and reporting. So that hopefully is not going to happen again, I hope. But essentially that $6,000 overage there is because we came into FY26 with about $6,000 in expenditures, which we didn't really know about.
But even with that, you're still $3,000 over.
Yep. Yeah, and it's just so 6,000 out of the 9 was from cleaning. The other 3,000, I'm not sure completely.
So, this building right here, we budget $14,000, 210 to clean.
No. That includes cleaning. Other stuff goes into that budget.
Yeah.
And we can pull a budget detail with Aaron if we want to dig into that more. The one other note here is that, and this is every dollar counts, but it is minor. Right now, the library contribution to cleaning, because that does cover the cleaning in the library. Right now, the library pays $750 a year for that. If you actually break out like how much money per hour would go into that, it'd be more like $1,300. Whether we want to ask the library for some more money is a question we can talk about. Public Works miscellaneous. So as you can see there, the extra bridge storage payment, mowing was up over. The one here that I need to follow up on is the streetlights being over budget, because we replaced all those with high efficiency bulbs.
Yeah,
so I have no idea why they are dinging us for that. So I'm going to follow up with Velco to ask what the hell happened there.
Mowing's up 2,300. Is that the contract? New contract, or is that?
No.
What is that?
Mowing, so we have a contract for mowing. This fiscal year, it's now entered into a 4 installment payment flat thing. So like we have a rate, we have an amount, it's settled. It's going to be cut in 4 different installments. and that's how we're handling it. Previously, it was kind of a bill for service, and so we just didn't account for $2,300 worth of mowing that ended up happening. The first payment, the interest was more on the first payment for the 2022 International than we expected. That's what shows up there.
Which is 22 International?
The truck.
The truck, gotcha.
Yep. So at the end of it, income was over budget by 130,816. Total expenditures were over by 125,137.73. And so we're about $6,000 in the positive. If we remove the single audit cost from that, the difference would be 23,000. And so if the board wants to, the recommended action tonight would be, just want to make sure I have my math right. Yeah, 17. So the recommended action tonight, should the board want to do it, is to take $17,000 from the wastewater reserve, which we are attributing the single audit to primarily from that action, and put that back into the general fund to account for the single audit payment. So that would have us coming out of the fiscal year $23,000 positive instead of $6,000 positive. So that's the recommendation from me and Aaron, would be to do that. Oh, and the one last thing is, like, a big punchline here also is that Kat's work saved our asses because of the delinquent tax collection. So if you see Kat, give her a hug, a high five, whatever you want to do.
I think close to the question.
Oh, yeah.
For not taking questions.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, one comment.
Yeah.
Does everybody understand what a government surplus is, right?
Yeah.
What's it called? Over collection of taxes.
Yeah, so what I haven't pointed out here is that this doesn't account for reserve fund allocations. So we
Or
can't.
the interest rate you guys are getting from the general fund, so I understand that.
So I just want to say that we can't, so we haven't, this doesn't account for reserve fund allocations. And so one thing the auditors have pointed out in the past is we make all these allocations in the budget every year at town meeting, and we say we want to put this amount of money in it. If we come out of the year without the amount of money to put in those accounts, we can't do that. And so if we're showing a surplus of $23,000, that's a surplus in the budget, but that does not reflect the voter approved reserve fund allocations being made. So if you
departments carry over surplus every year. So far, I've been here 3 years in the town meetings, everyone has a surplus, including the library, town garage, and they carry it over every year. So where's that money going? Shouldn't it go back to the general fund?
Well, it does. So we don't.
It
So
does or it doesn't?
Well, it does. So we used to budget for unreserved.
Zero at the end of the month.
Yeah, and that's what we budget for now, and that's what it is. We used to budget with unreserved funds, and so we would talk about coming into the fiscal year with money left over, but we
Right,
don't.
but you guys should be pulling money for surpluses for your department.
But I don't think, yes, when you do a budget, it comes zeros, but when you're collecting delinquent taxes from previous
Right,
years,
you always carry negative.
I'm just saying.
However, here's the thing, though.
But my point, well, the thing to answer your question is that she collected how much money in delinquent taxes that went towards
She's
this
done
budget?
great. I'm not arguing.
But so what I'm saying is that if she didn't, it would be the flip side of it.
Yeah.
We'd be negative.
Yeah.
No, but I think your point's well taken, that if we have a surplus and pulling it back into the general fund, I think what I'm trying to describe is that I don't think we actually have a surplus because this doesn't account for the reserve fund allocations.
I'm just saying, when you get to town meeting.
Yeah.
This fall, every year I've been so, most of the departments carry a freaking balance cost. And what I'm saying is, why aren't you pulling that in either to redirect it to owing our debt or to redirect it to the general fund so you guys can use it for whatever?
Yeah.
My point is that they shouldn't carry over a balance in the departments.
So there are reserve funds that get carried over, which are
Rainy day funds, those are not really legal.
well, no, these are dedicated reserve funds the voters have set up to basically only fund things in that. So those are like savings accounts for those things.
I
And
think
so
New Jersey got in a lot of trouble for rainy day funds.
when those balances carry over, like in those do carry forward. So like if we put $5,000 every year into the reserve fund for buildings and
Right, but I'm just talking the budgets of your departments, okay? We'll go back to because here's the thing, we're switching for money, and then yet we carry balances over in departments. Why isn't the select board pulling those surpluses back to pay off whatever else you have?
Yeah, and I guess the answer
It
is,
hasn't- I mean, last time I was at a town meeting, you cut me off when I stated that why are we using the funds, the surplus funds, to pay off debt? Nobody had an answer for me. Then I got accused of trying to shut down the fire department. I got accused of whole many different things.
yeah, no, I think there was some
That pissed
confusion.
me
I
off.
think there was some confusion there around reserve funds versus surpluses, and I
Right.
think that
Your town report has a surplus for each department, right?
well, not
or no?
exactly, because then in the certain budget items, we might be over or under, but the other budget items basically absorb that. If that makes sense. So for example,
We
like,
shouldn't do that though, Charlie. I mean, it should be black and white. Well, if you're taking 20.
yeah, but if we go over here and under there, it's all coming out of the general fund, and so it all ends up being balanced out at the end. Like we can't
Correct.
pull money.
But then again, if you're asking for this, if the department is asking for the same money again, but they have a $20,000 surplus, why are they getting the same budget? Why aren't you all controlling it?
Yeah. Well, they don't, unless it's in a reserve fund that we can't pull back.
Don't pull all the video from it, bud.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't pull back money that's in a reserve fund.
Right, I'm not talking a reserve
Yeah.
fund. Reserve fund is separate. I'm talking general fund and the budget, which is not a reserve fund, it's going to your departments, correct?
So yeah, we have budget amounts going to highway.
Yeah.
All that, yeah.
Fire department, all that, right?
Understood, yeah.
And almost 3 years in a row, some of the departments have carried a surplus over. And the select board has allowed it to happen. When I approached that we should take that surplus and either put it back in the general fund or pay off debt with it, when the same department's asking for the same amount of money. In the federal government I worked in, if you don't spend all the money you don't get it next year.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying. I don't quite see.
Oh, come on, Charlie.
Well, no, and I will admit, accounting is definitely not like
I know.
where I live, and so I think maybe this is a good conversation to have with Erin.
Yeah, I
and
asked
she
her
can
at the time,
explain
she
this.
didn't know, remember?
Can you submit an email, like articulate exactly what your question is about the
I
reserve
will.
fund? Yeah.
I'll bring it up here so it's recorded.
Follow the state. You guys have all those, that's what you do. That's
So
what they
the
do.
point is, that's the thing that came up at town
Love you,
meeting.
bye.
I still have a problem with that and we're not carrying it over.
So I'm new to the board here.
Understand that.
But I want to say something too, because I worked in the government too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in a situation where we were surplus and we kept it for the next budget year. So I think I understand what you're saying and I don't disagree with you. I own a business, right? I also, but if you do have extra, yes, I understand the point about paying off servicing your debt to get things down for taxpayer. I understand that. So I just want to be clear that
Okay, I just wanna make sure,
but so when I say that
He's never given me an exact answer on it.
So the way I understand it is that essentially that we come out with an overall general fund balance, and I might be describing this wrong, but the way I understand it is that overages in one department and underages in another department essentially all work out to the end general fund
But what do we vote on in
balance.
town meeting? Budgets for the departments, correct?
You vote on an overall municipal general
Correct.
fund
Yeah,
budget.
There's budgets in there, right?
Yeah.
And we should pay attention to those budgets. If there is over, the town select board should pull that money back from there and should not give them the same amount the next
No,
year.
and we do that.
No, you don't.
No, yes, we do. We go through.
Show me the evidence, please.
Yeah, so we go through every line every year and we say, okay, this is what we budgeted last year for this. So for example,
I'm done for tonight because we're not getting anywhere.
Well, no,
No, you're not answering the questions.
I'm
My
trying to
simple
answer your question. So every
Spend
year,
a half hour doing it.
so every year, right? Like salt. So every year we look at it and we say, how much salt did we use? What is the cost of salt? Were we over, under? What do we budget this year? So we reduce the amount for that line item. And so we do reduce departments or we fluctuate them. So we do that.
Why are you carrying over surpluses for departments? You did it last year and you did it the year before.
I guess I'm not understanding.
I could show you in the town report if you want.
Yeah.
I got it all highlighted.
Okay.
We can talk about it over a beer, bud.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that so I can.
Because I am not happy with how
Yeah.
we spend money.
let's do that so I can better understand this, so I can get a more
Yeah,
informed
no
answer for you.
Let's go have beer at the
Okay.
bar sometime.
Yep. All right.
Let you guys finish. My apologies.
No, it's fine. All right, so I would entertain a motion for the board to. Sorry, my brain is starting to shut down.
Yeah.
I'd entertain a motion for the board to authorize the transfer of $13,000 from the wastewater reserve to the general fund to account for the single audit overage cost in the FY26 budget.
It was 13,000 or was it?
Was it 17? I thought it was 17.
I'm sorry.
I thought you said 44,000.
The difference would be 23 minus 6 is 17, right?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, so 17,000.
Yeah, 17.
What did I
You
say?
got a grant.
You said 13.
13, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So the motion would be to authorize the board to transfer $17,000 from the wastewater reserve to the general fund to account for the overage in the audit expense due to the single audit.
Yeah,
So is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Chris. Is there any further discussion?
So we're,
So,
I understand that we're $6,000 over, but what's the purpose of moving the $17,000 over to take it out of a wastewater when we need that money is gonna be needed to pay for the wastewater?
Yeah, so
but it's an expense the wastewater gave to the town.
I understand
Yeah.
that, I understand that,
So
but if we were in the negative, I would be
Yeah.
amenable to it to say, okay,
So
Yeah.
again, this does not account for reserve fund allocations. So
So like with
So-
10,000 to the town
we
hall.
have 6,000 over, which needs to go into the reserve fund. We've budgeted greater than 6,000 to go
Yeah.
into the reserve funds.
Yeah.
So moving this money over gives us those funds to put into the reserve funds.
Yeah,
Because we can't put money into a reserve fund that we don't have.
yeah,
And so if we get through the general fund budget
but,
with,
right, okay, so
yeah.
you budgeted to be over?
we budget to come out at zero.
Yeah.
Like,
But, right, but then you said that you budgeted more to put in the reserve fund.
so yeah, so the town every year,
They build a nice purse,
yeah.
which I don't know.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
understand, I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
trying to
yeah.
understand
Yeah.
that if you're supposed to be zero, there's like, so when we do,
So maybe I'm not-
again, I wasn't part of the
No,
budget
no,
process, so.
you're asking a really good question, and now I'm starting to question if I understood what Aaron was saying.
She should probably be here when we have the budget.
Yeah, my understanding is that the money that we're talking about is basically to put back in the general fund to make the reserve fund allocations, but you're right, if we're trying to budget to zero,
Should be zero. So
yeah, I can ask her that.
I'm just,
No, your question's a good one. and
I understand what Cliff's saying, and I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I have to do budgets at JP. I get it. You want a net zero, or if I'm over, I get asked questions like why. Like, yeah, I mean, I can answer questions why revenue's higher because people spend more at the rink, or I had a compressor blow up and I had to spend more. I mean, here the argument that I make is that we collected a ton more taxes, which is a big reason why we're over. Which is a good thing. People are paying their taxes because we were probably under. So I need to understand the reserve, and if our goal is to be net zero, what's the big deal about moving that $17,000 from the wastewater? Now, granted, I'm a firm believer in a rainy day fund.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, just
Yeah, and okay, if you want to wait on this, I think we can wait. I can go back and get clarity on that from Aaron. Because as you're saying, it makes sense, and now I'm wondering if I totally misunderstood.
Yeah.
Because we need to come out with enough money to put in the reserve.
No, but we budgeted.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
we budgeted.
No, you're right.
That
You're
money
right.
was in
You're
the
right.
budget.
Yeah.
Should have her here with a
So,
PowerPoint.
Okay.
yeah.
The one thing that we have discussed is that Aaron and Genevieve, Aaron is also trying to train up Genevieve to be able to issue these reports on a monthly basis. So we're going to start getting these monthly.
Yeah.
So I will check with her on that. The one other thing that I will say related to all of this is that I did talk with Aaron about kind of what the plan is here, because it's come up a few times about transitioning. And the goal now is to work on a job posting in the next few weeks, get that brushed up for the select board to adopt, get that posted in early September, and then be able to make a hire within however much period of time we want to have that posting out. And then her end date is essentially going to depend on the hire because of how much training and onboarding is needed. So she can't really give us an end date right now, but the goal is to have that job description drafted this month, get it posted, and then hopefully in September be able to recruit, find candidates.
Is her job, is it by the fiscal year? Like, is it the financial, like?
Her job, there's no like.
No, what I'm saying is if you bring somebody in, we gotta pay them more, that's gonna hit the fiscal year that we're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we bring somebody in and we pay them more, then it would affect the FY26 budget. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, I will try to chase this down, and Cliff, I will reach out to you to try to sit down and try to work this out, and I do apologize, like, financial stuff has never been my strong suit. So, okay, I think that's everything. We don't have any licenses.
No.
We don't have any permits.
Well, I think we have to finish our, the motion,
What motion?
the vote adopting the budget.
Thank you. Wait,
Somebody made a motion.
There's a motion and a second, that was discussion, so then that needs to be
So we're
moved
just
to
gonna table
right?
it? We're gonna
yeah,
table it.
so,
All right, we gotta make- yeah.
sorry, my brain is like
No, I
slowly
get it.
shutting down.
Yeah.
I've been a difficult one tonight, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay,
Been a long one.
so then, a friendly amendment to table from Dennis. Okay, do you accept the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor of tabling this until the next meeting, please signify by saying aye, raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Abstain. Thank you. Abstain. Okay. Abstaining. Okay. Anyway, all right.
Because of the wastewater, it said wastewater and it's the appearance. Literally.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Okay. All right. So with that, I think we're through our agenda. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Thank you,
second that one.
Dennis. Second from Mark. Thank you, Mark. Any further discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries and we stand in adjournment. Thank you so much.